Today, I want to talk about World War Z, a fictional movie, and how a lot of the symbolism from it has manifested itself into reality, including the Z, which now Al Jazeera says Germany may prosecute the use of pro Russia Z symbol. So, we're going to talk about the similarities from the movie and what's going on in reality. Once again, I guess Russia is using that Z symbol and they're talking about pretty much banning it, treating it like the swastika, just completely outlawing it. And the parallels between that and really just the movie World War Z, a 2013 horror action movie I haven't seen. It says on Google, when a UN investigator, Jerry Lynn, aka Brad Pitt, and his family get stuck in an urban gridlock, he senses that it's no ordinary traffic jam. His suspicions are confirmed when suddenly the city erupts into chaos. A lethal virus spread through a single bite is turning healthy people into something vicious, unthinking, and feral. As the pandemic threatens to consume humanity, Jerry leads a worldwide search to find the source of the infection and, with luck, a way to halt its spread. Now, I'm not saying this was planned. That's not what I'm saying. I just find it interesting that that same Z symbol is coming into reality, and we're also going to talk about if it's a good idea to ban letters and symbols. That's what the show's about today. We'll be going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's going on, folks? Hope you're having a good day. And I just wanted to talk about today the Z situation. There's Z's everywhere. Like, I guess apparently the Russian military is using that language or that lettering. And it's just very interesting because there was a movie called World War Z in which, I just read at the beginning. If you missed it, just, scroll back or watch it again, where they were talking about a pandemic, some sort of like world ending situation. And let's just get into some of the headlines recently that I've been seeing. All right. CNN said Russian tanks emblazoned with the Z were first spotted at Ukraine's border, how it became a pro war symbol. Ukraine asked world to criminalize the Z symbol as support for Russia's war. So they're asking you to criminalize the letter Z. Germany may prosecute the use of pro Russia Z symbol. Pretty crazy prosecuting it. And then there's the Independent that says World War Z. What's the meaning behind Russian propaganda symbol emerging as the new swastika? So they're now branding the letter Z for whatever reason because Russia's using it as the new swastika. It needs to be banned. Ukraine is asking people to ban it. And first, I want to talk about something because it's a very interesting situation. I don't believe in banning symbols, free speech, free expression. It's very dangerous. So, for instance, the swastika that's been pretty much banned from Western society after World War II and the use of it in Nazi Germany. If you look up the Wikipedia, I didn't bring it up because I'm not trying to get banned off of social media, even though what I'm saying is completely harmless. I don't know. It's like a hate symbol, and, just saying it or putting it on the symbol, on the screen could get your whole life ruined. I mean, they could literally like destroy your life off of a symbol. But if you really go to the history of the swastika before Nazi Germany ever used it, it comes from a word in Sanskrit, which is a very old classic language of Southeast Asia or South Asia. So it comes from Sanskrit, and what it means in Sanskrit, the swastika, means conductive or conducive to well-being. It's also a Buddhist symbol. It was also a Hindu symbol, and it always used to mean like well-being or, prosperity and good luck. So these are ancient symbols written in Sanskrit before, German, all this other stuff. And now because one person used it, now the entire symbol's banned. I think that's dangerous. And I'm not Hindu or Buddhist, but if I was, and that was a symbol that my religion or whatever group had been using for thousands of years, just because one person uses it in one war, all of a sudden you ban it from all of humanity. I mean, that alone is a psyop. They're taking a symbol that was supposed to mean prosperity and good luck for thousands of years, flipping it on its head, and then banning it from all existence. I believe you should be able to condemn that military and condemn that war without banning the whole symbol. Banning stuff is so dangerous. You go to Germany today, you can't speak about history. They'll throw you in jail. They have no food on the shelves, yet they're banning language. You get emails on Twitter saying, oh, what you said is illegal in German law. It's like Germany is a shell of a country. It's like not a free at all, but it's like now they're talking about banning the Z. Let's ban the Z. It's like the last letter of the alphabet. You're trying to ban that now, so it's like outside of what you think of Russia, or obviously what you think of Germany. It's just this deeper conversation of like, should we be banning symbols and, that have been for thousands of years a good symbol, and then somebody used it and now it's, banned from existence. And then the Z, it's literally a letter. And once again, for people just getting in, or just to throw it back up on the screen, they're trying to treat it like the swastika now. Oh my gosh, Russia used a Z. Russia used a Z. Oh my gosh, Ukraine's asking the world to criminalize a letter of our alphabet. I mean, they've already criminalized gender talking. It's hate speech. It's hate speech. Oh my God, it's the new swastika. Ban it, ban it. Germany wants to ban it. Ukraine wants to ban it. It's a letter of our alphabet. I mean, nothing would surprise me at this point. They're banning science. They're banning basic reality. They're banning you from going to a restaurant. We don't live in a free world anymore. And, I pray that people realize that we didn't earn our freedoms back, especially in liberal cities like New York and Los Angeles. We didn't earn our freedoms back. They gave them back. For whatever reason, they just decided to give them back. So if they could give them back, they could take them away that easy. So be aware. But, I just wanted to ask you guys, and maybe I'll put some of your comments on the thing before we get to the next topic. What do you think of this whole Z situation? World War Z, the fictional movie that's talking about some sort of pandemic and, global war with the Z symbol. Now you have Russia using it on tanks. You have Ukraine and Germany trying to criminalize a letter of our alphabet. That's key. It's not the most key letter. It's probably one of the most useless letters, but still, it's a letter. Z, zebra, zipper. We kind of need it for our language. And now they're going to ban it as if like the Z was used for Zorro or Q. Used to be used for question. Now it's QAnon. Are you going to ban the Q? You know what I'm saying? A letter because somebody used it that you don't like. I mean, this is like next level authoritarian, like dictatorship type stuff. And when it comes to the movie, I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't really tell you the parallels besides just the description. But I have to say this to people that might say, and I'm not suggesting that this was planned or anything, but to people who don't think that media and movies are being used to manipulate people, you're totally wrong. The easiest example in the world, I'm going to bring it up again just to fully walk people through it. Zelensky of Ukraine was an actor producer that had a production studio called Kvartal 95 that ended up creating a television show called Servant of the People, and then using that television show to convince Ukraine that he's this everyday person becoming president for 3 years on television. People get programmed to think, oh, that's a likable guy. I watch him on TV all the time. Runs for office, wins. His production studio creates a literal political party called Servant of the People. That's his political party. He gets into office. Within a couple of years, he's banning 11 political parties and consolidating media. So Zelensky is a human manifestation of media programming. I mean, he created a show, created his character, created his reality, got in power, and now he's a total communist dictator that bans political parties. Did you know on electionbettingodds.com, they have like betting odds if you can go there for a bunch of things? Zelensky had a very high chance of losing the election because he was democratically elected, or at least somewhat, and he banned 11 political parties, and now he has like a 98% chance of winning. So isn't that interesting? It's like he probably maybe would have lost the next election until he banned all his opposition. Now he's going to win. Oh yeah, that's real democratic. Yeah, I want to go fight overseas for that type of democracy. Give me a break. But I just wanted to use that as an illustration to show people how powerful media is. Media is so powerful it could put somebody in the middle of a war. Create a position that he wasn't going to hold, take it, and then create this whole thing. And now there's the Z. Someone said Zorro. Yeah, I know. It's like you can't ban the Z. But pretty crazy stuff that's going on. And I just want to know your opinion. Maybe I'll get to some at the end. Do you think World War Z, the movie, was just spontaneously just so happened to coincide with reality now? Or do you think it was some sort of like, foresight or insight or coincidence? I don't really know, but I think it's dangerous to ban a Z. I think they've done this to ancient symbols in time, and it's not a good thing for sure. I want to play this clip real quick before the Elon Musk story because I made a little Instagram reel and a TikTok. So this guy, he's some sort of like, I guess like journalist who's triple vaccinated, and he says he caught COVID 5 times, and he decided to write an article about it. Just take a watch. It's pretty, in my opinion. I mean, it's not funny when someone gets sick, but this is just like bizarro world. Take a look. So I found my favorite article of the week. Why have I caught COVID 5 times? Look at that face. Since the pandemic started, I kept being infected while there are plenty of people who haven't had it once, but I'm not alone. With a little bit of research, I found out Jack is, of course, triple vaccinated. And now that this headline's going viral because it's hilarious, he's crying that it's anti-vaxxers or something. It has nothing to do with anti-vaccine, dude. It's just a hilarious headline. Have a little bit of self-awareness. And to be real with you, if you're really trying to sell vaccines, telling someone someone that didn't catch it or caught it one time that you caught it 5 times isn't the best strategy to do so. I would suggest maybe mandating it on people, kicking them out of restaurants, or misleading people like the CDC director Rochelle Walensky did on television last year.
Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real world data.
That's a better strategy to sell. So this guy from the Telegraph, he writes this article. It's like, I caught COVID 5 times, why it's okay or something. And then like people are making fun of it because it's just funny. It's like, sorry, dude, you're triple vaccinated and you caught COVID 5 times. It's kind of funny. I mean, you're alive. We're not like laughing at you're not like sick or anything. It's just like, dude. And then he's like writing this stupid article about it. And then people are laughing at it because like these people don't have to have self-awareness. The left ideology now, it's like they just get to ban everybody, like, oh, I could be, it doesn't matter. I'm banned. So it's like they don't have to think anymore. And this guy's like, oh, it's the anti-vaxxers are attacking me. And it's like, bro, you wrote, you made this article. Let me just show you again where he plasters his face. Like if I dressed like him and I'm like, and I plaster myself on the Telegraph, I would expect people to make fun of me. But just look at this again real quick. So I found my favorite article of the week. Why have I caught COVID 5 times? Look at that face. Since the pandemic started, I kept being infected while there are plenty of people who haven't had it once. He's in a jean jacket. He's just like, it's like, who would plaster their face? I mean, I'm not knocking it. It's like, do your thing, bro. Justin Timberlake rocks a jean jacket too, but it's like that's the smuggest face I've ever seen in my life. And he's like, oh, it's now that it's going viral because it's hilarious. He's like, oh, the anti-vaxxers, they're attacking me. I'm like, dude, look at yourself, bro. So I found my favorite article of the week. Why have I caught COVID 5 times? I've caught COVID 5 times, but I'm triple vaccinated, and the anti-vaxxers just won't leave me alone. It's like, dude, get a grip, bro. It's like, you don't see why that's hilarious to people who didn't get vaccinated and haven't caught COVID once, and you've caught it 5 times. Well, you got a jean jacket picture of you there, and it goes viral because it's super funny, and now it's like an anti-vaxxer conspiracy theory. Dude, it's so easy to be left-wing nowadays. I mean, it's not easy. It's going to destroy your soul, and you're going to be miserable. But, it's like you don't have to think. You don't have to debate. It's like you're getting – traditionally what's known as a vaccine would be you get it and then you don't get the virus. It's like you get the polio vaccine, you don't get polio. That's like what people are going for usually. You know what I'm saying? And listen, hey, if you want to get 3 vaccines and get COVID 5 times, that's on you. I'm not going to debate your science with you, but it is kind of hilarious that you got 3 shots for a sickness that you got 5 times. It's just like a little bit funny to some people, but it'd be like getting like, and then they'll be like, fact check, it's totally different. It's a totally different disease. Yeah, we know. It's still just kind of a little weird to, get 3 shots or something and get it 5 times within 2 years. It's a little strange. I've never heard of, in my perspective, I've never heard of anything like that. And in my own thing, I've caught it 0 times and I'm not pin cushioned up or anything. But listen, if you want to ban me from society, take away all my stuff online because you're whatever. I mean, these people are so evil. What won't they do? Let's get to the Elon Musk story. So real quick, a few weeks ago, Elon put out a poll and it said, free speech is essential to a functioning democracy. Do you believe Twitter rigorously adheres to this principle? People voted no. And Elon said the consequences of this poll will be important. Please vote carefully. So that's what he did a couple weeks ago. Recently, it says this happened before, I guess. Elon Musk became Twitter's biggest shareholder after buying 9.2% stake on March 14th. New SEC filing reveals sending shares soaring 26%. So I guess before Elon did that tweet, he bought all the shares without telling anybody of Twitter. And then he did a poll and said, do you think Twitter adheres to the principles of free speech? And now it comes out that he owns a huge stake in Twitter. So I guess he was kind of, saying, well, if people don't feel like they adhere to the values of free speech, then maybe I'm going to do something about it. And, I know a lot of people are skeptical of Elon Musk because of his like transhumanist agenda style, companies like Neuralink, which is, planting computer chips in people's brains. On the positive side, it could cure, different diseases that have never been cured before. And if you have somebody that's like, has something messed up, maybe that will eventually fix them. On the negative side, I mean, I don't have to tell you the negative side of people planting computer chips in their brains. It could obviously go wrong, whether Elon wants it to or not. So people are always skeptical of him, Tesla, etc. But I like him. I think he's funny, and I wouldn't say like I trust him with my whole life. Like I'm not Elon. He's a character. He's himself. But I appreciate him for who he is, and I do believe that with his stake in Twitter, he will probably do more for free speech than anybody. I mean, in 2020, I felt like he did more for to combat the COVID narrative than even Trump or Republicans did. I mean, Elon was one of the first people out saying, I'm opening my business. I don't, this is an overreaction. He did a lot to break the narrative. He went on Joe Rogan in May and really just told the truth, the raw truth about it to the biggest audience in the world. So, I have respect for him. I think at the end of the day, time tells all. So, I'm skeptical of everything like everybody, but I like to give people credit, right? When I didn't vote for Donald Trump in 2016, but I saw him actually doing a lot of the right thing and saying a lot of the right thing, I gave Trump credit, right? That's kind of how I helped build an audience, because a lot of people were like, on the fence or afraid to say something. I was like, listen, he's actually doing a great job. He's not what the media says he is. And then in 2020, vice versa, I see it go the other way, and I have no problem calling it like that. But I think Elon has really stood up for free speech recently. He's stood up against the COVID authoritarianism pretty hard. And, the world is not perfect. I'm glad to have somebody with his amount of money saying the things that he's saying. Because just like with Trump, whether he follows through on it or not, just the cultural shift that Elon and Trump kind of did in a direction that I consider the right direction, it impacts even if they don't get it done. But in my perspective, if you ask me, I'm going to put some of your comments up on the screen. I would give, if I were a betting man, I would bet on Elon to do more for free speech than Donald Trump at this point. And I'm not saying, I just like Truth Social, I feel like was a huge bomb. I just, like the waiting list, it was just like, you got $1 billion. That's what you're doing. So I think buying shares of Twitter and trying to work it from the inside out might do more, but I don't know. Let me see what you guys think. Someone said he's controlled opposition. Someone said, I don't trust Elon 100%, but I trust him more than anybody else. I think it's always good to trust yourself, trust God. And, all these characters, you could say, you could feel how you feel. Angela said, my husband met Elon in person, said he's all business, though they met in a business setting. He's a man. Men are not perfect, but many try. That's what matters. I like him. It's just, I definitely, someone said I'm the sexiest rapper alive. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Someone said Elon's a welfare queen. Wait, hold on. I want to get that one. Elon's a welfare queen. Elon seems contrived like those 80s British bands were. Let's see. Kill him with kindness said, amen. God first, always. Fire, 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 fire. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Love these lives. Well, thank you. I love you too. I appreciate it. I'm trying to adapt and evolve with what's going on, because I have a podcast out right now. It's 100% free. It's on Spotify, Apple. I've noticed my numbers go down on Facebook, and I'm not trying to just play the victim like, oh, I'm being shadow banned. It's a lot of things. Like my views have skyrocketed on Instagram and TikTok. So I'm starting to realize people are moving to Instagram and TikTok. So overall, I'm not losing, but I want to keep up with the times, and I don't want to just play the victim and say, oh my God, I'm being, shadow banned or whatever. It's like maybe people are moving on. Maybe there is stuff going on, but I want to just show you Dream Rare podcast. It's 100% free. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, anywhere podcasts are found. It's right here. I'm just search. Where is it? Hold on. Did it go up? Hold on. Where is it? How come it's not there? I don't know. Maybe I got to take this off the screen. There it is. Look, see, Dream Rare podcast. Just search that on Spotify, Apple, anywhere that where podcasts are, a better service that's not Apple or Spotify. 100% free. What I'm doing on there is I'm doing an interview, one of my best live streams, interview. Sometimes I'm doing secret things. Tomorrow I'll be talking to Ryan Long, the comedian. He's really great. So just check out Dream Rare podcast. I know, the streams are not getting as many views as they used to, but more people are listening to my podcast, my reels, etc. So let me see what this says. Rad said, Anomaly, with your platform, do you think you could call out others on their lies and get a response? I know you already do this in a way, but I mean, actually try to reach out to the people you know. I try not to be like, I try to give out good energy, and I don't like to really talk about people, believe it or not. It's like, I like to be compassionate, and I like to think of the golden rule, like treat others the way I want to be treated. But I do think that I do think it has an impact what I do, because I see sometimes things that I do, it spreads very quickly. So it's just like me. I learn from people, people learn from me. We're on this world wide web of information. So, I believe it does have an impact, and I think it's a cultural, social impact. So, I try to call out lies when I see them without being too rude or, mean. And I think it's had a huge impact. So I'll do what I can, but you know, I think that that's what I do. I'm gonna put this on the screen because it's not true, but I want to just give some some comments that I don't agree with. Let me see. This person said anomaly. He spelled my name wrong. It's okay. It's part of a CIA psyop, in my opinion. Facebook would have canceled him if not. Well, that's not true, Dennis. But you could think what you want. I don't really care. If it was really a threat to what I was doing, I wouldn't have put it on the screen. But I'm not part of the CIA. I'm not part of a CIA psyop. I'm 100% sure about that. I know what I do, and you could think what you want. I've been demonetized on Facebook. They've taken away my money for multiple months. They have canceled certain things. They have taken away my live streams. They have taken away my supporter hub for a little. Every time I log into Facebook, it says, warning, we could delete your page at any second. So that's not true, but you could honestly think what you want. And as long as you're thinking and critically thinking, I don't care. But that's not true. I'm not working for the CIA, but you're allowed to think that if you want. Someone said, "Oh my god, I can't believe that was actually pinned. I hope it didn't sound rude." No, you're good, dude. What you said was not rude. Someone said I played kart racers with this guy. He's not an agent. LOL. What do we play, like Mario Kart or something? I don't know, but let me see. Someone said anomaly is actually an alien. Let me see. That's also not true. At least I don't think I'm an alien, but I was born, I think, and I read, that's like a philosophical question. Like when you're a baby and stuff, you don't really remember anything. So, technically everyone could be an alien. Let me see. Someone said Dennis is a lefty. I mean, I'm not going to accuse him of being left wing. I think it's healthy. This is my personal belief. I think it's healthy to be skeptical. Like, I don't think you should idolize me or anybody Trump. Like, like, I'm not your idol. I'm not, I'm a man who does news analysis. I try my best. I want to give information. I want you to think. I want you to, consider what I'm saying, consideration in your arsenal of things you already know. A lot of people that follow me know a lot more than me in certain topics, and a lot of topics. Everybody has their own skill set. So I really just want people to consider. So I think it's healthy to be skeptical, but here's what I try to do myself. I try to not accuse others of things that are false, because if you're trying to fight fake news, you don't want to be fake news. So for instance, like, it's very popular, if you don't like someone, to just call them an agent. I've seen people call other people, you're a Chinese agent, you work for Mossad, you're CIA, you're this, and it's like people are just emotionally saying that because they're mad at something they said or something. So I get it. Like, there's the bigger you get, it's like if you're Tucker Carlson on television, there's a big target on you for them to try to silence you because you're so important. Like Joe Rogan, for example, he's so big, they can't fully control him. He's not completely controllable. So they get upset at him. And I understand it comes with the territory of like, I have 1,600,000 followers on Facebook, 400, 500,000 on Instagram. People are going to start getting skeptical of like, why are you allowed to get so big? But I credit it to God. I credit it to my ability to be honest. And I see the game that they're playing with the fact checks. And, I'm not going to say I censor myself because I don't, but I see the game they're playing and I try to outwit them at every front. I'm not a liar. I'm not sloppy. I think a lot of people in the truther movement are a little bit sloppy. It's just because you're a truther or you're a conservative, it doesn't mean you're always right. So I think a lot of people just post whatever. And, I don't think I live in a free world. I don't think I live in a free country. So I'm not out here just posting 1,000 things a day, like 20 of them are wrong. And I'm like, whatever. I'm trying to be a smooth character because it's like, it's not a free platform. I have 1.6 million people and I only have a couple, like 1,000 here watching. I'm not complaining, but I used to have 7 or 8,000. So clearly, like, I would think in a free market that I'd at least have a couple thousand if I have 1.7 million people following me. But who knows? Maybe people deleted their page or, I try not to play the victim. But this idea that like Facebook, I mean, my numbers were way higher last year and 2 years ago. But is that because people left Facebook, or is that because, I'm being, I would say like quashed? They have algorithms to say, well, Anomaly could have his page, but he can only reach like 20% of his people. So, I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but you could think what you want. Someone said you are new media. Hold on, I want to put that up. Where is it? Yeah, I think I don't like the media, and I'm trying here. I'm gonna move this to the. Nah, maybe I'll keep it in the corner. I try to be my own media. I thought Anomaly was Steve Aoki. Bro, that's a crazy look at this dude. That's a crazy afro you got there, brother. You look like Don King. I appreciate the Steve Aoki comment, but someone said blame Putin for sure. I woke up this morning, I felt a little tired, and I thought to myself, why did Vladimir Putin do this to me? I took a shower, the water was too warm, it burned me, and I thought to myself, why would Vladimir Putin do this to me? I went, I drank water. It wasn't the temperature I wanted it to be, and I thought to myself, why did the Kremlin do this? It's always a good idea to just blame Putin for everything. It's definitely not Joe Biden. It's definitely not Germany. They're not going to starve their people or anything. It's Vladimir Putin for sure. It's not Angela Merkel. She loves Germany. I mean, Germany won World War II, and now they're just thriving, and it's great there. And I definitely blame Putin. I blame Putin. Trump, Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson. Someone says stubs toe. Arg Putin. Yeah, when I stub my toe, I hate when the Kremlin does that. Sometimes the Kremlin's sneaky. They'll plant little floorboards in your house so you stub your toe. And it's just important to know it's not your fault. It's definitely not the homeowner's fault. It's Putin for sure. So, as long as we all keep blaming him, we'll get him. We'll get him eventually. Someone said the sheep are brainwashed. If you go against their programming, you are hated. I hear you. I think so. But here's what I will say. And to the guy who accused me of being CIA falsely, it's okay. But here's something that I think goes in my favor personally. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to agree. But this is how I personally feel. I don't look at things like I don't look at everything like, oh my, like I'm thinking so energetically with everything I do. So I'm always trying to, how can I say this honestly? How can I be nicer about this? How can I get this message across without talking down to people? There's a lot of political analysts, and I think I'm guilty of it sometimes too when I get upset. But like, there's certain people that are constantly talking down to people where it's like people are not going to want to listen to you. There's a lot of right wingers that are super angry. There's a lot of left wingers that are super angry. But anger, in my opinion, there's a classic like Buddha quote that says it's like drinking poison and expecting your enemies to die. It's like anger also affects you. So I think about everything I do very, very deeply. And I think the results I get are because of that. So, if you fight fire with fire, you get fire. So I think a lot of people are, not as self-aware as me, and they just do what they want and they get the results that they get. So I think that has kind of protected me in some way against like the heavy, heavy censorship. Yes, I've been targeted. Yes, I've been shadow banned, whatever. But it's like you get what you put out, and I don't get that much hate. I have built almost a billion views, and I probably get 1/1000th of the hate that a lot of people get. One, I don't focus on it when I do get it, but also, some people are hateful. Some right wingers are hateful, and you kind of get the energy you put out. So, I try to think about that every time I talk. So I didn't come into politics thinking I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat or this is my agenda. I was like, there's too much fear in the media. There's too much negativity in the media. The energy's bad. They're just selling pharmacy products all the time. That was kind of my initial goal. If you want to be honest, I wasn't even conservative when I came to politics. I wasn't liberal. I didn't know a Democrat, Republican. This didn't really mean that much to me. I didn't have this ideologic. My goal getting into it was, one, to tell the truth and be more honest, but also to bring a better energy to it. So I think, people could think what they want or accuse this or that. They could say I got lucky or I'm working for somebody. It's not true. But I think you get what you put out and you get what you put into it. So I'm very, I think, unique in how I deliver my message and how I think and how I speak and how I work. And I think that's why I got the results from that. So I don't. Everybody has their own style, and that's what makes the world go around. But I don't think like a lot of other political analysts think, because it's really not about politics to me. It's not like I have this huge agenda and I work for Republicans. I don't work for anybody. I'm allowed to say whatever I want, whenever I want. It's really up to me. I'm the only filter in my life. Nobody tells me what to do. I report to nobody. And, I'm relying on the platforms I'm on until I'm not. So you can think what you want, but it's all gravy. Someone said it's Orange Man bad to blame for Putin. Well, I think it's Putin to blame for Orange Man bad. I blame both of them. Dang, somebody just did a long one. Someone said I completely agree with that anomaly. Well, I appreciate it. I just think of like the law of attraction, and I'm not like that. I'm kind of like a hippie. I don't know. People say, "Oh, you look like a hippie Jesus," or you act like that. I'm not perfect. I get upset. I've got annoyed on live stream and been rude, I'm sure. But I think about everything I do. Stretching, what like and not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes, but I'm very thoughtful. So I don't I try not to put off a certain energy myself. I think very energetically with everything I do. And it's a little weird. It's definitely not for people, but it's my life. Someone said I think they're all on the same side. Well, if you look at certain situations like the Ukraine thing, like there's certain things that a lot of Republicans fall in line for. It does seem, I think Republicans do act like controlled opposition a lot. I did a whole live stream; it's on my podcast as well, where they're always like gatekeeping liberal ideas and blacklisting right wing ideas, and it's like they're bending over backwards to the other side, and it's only going to move the Overton window. I really, I talk about this a lot, but I want to drive it home because some people, I mean, I don't even get called racist anymore. I mean, I don't care because the word doesn't mean anything to me anymore because people have butchered it. But it used to really bother me because I'm not, and I'm not a hateful person. But now it's like people don't even call me that. Some people say like anti-Semite, anti-vaxxer, conspiracy. There's all these stupid words that basically mean like I'm better than you, you're a horrible person, I win, you lose. It's like I could call you a racist. You call me a racist, I call you. It's stupid. But anyway, people have this false perception of me sometimes, like, oh, Anomaly really wants to badmouth Israel, or it's not even that. I actually like people in Israel, and it's they have a corrupt government like America does, so most of the world does. But anyway, I just believe in the principles of free speech so much that I hate that Republicans are giving it up and acting like it's for Israel. And then the left wingers are giving it up. They're acting like it's for black people or gay people. I fully believe in the principles of free speech. I trust us more than the government. I think with free speech and expression, the hateful people will lose. That's how confident I am. I don't want to be the best newscaster by shutting everyone else up. I want the competition, right? How great would I be if I was allowed to just destroy my competition? I'd suck. It's such a bad mindset. So when it comes to America and everything, I believe so deeply free speech, free expression. I think it's crazy that they've banned ancient symbols because Germany used them, and now you can't use a Sanskrit and a Hindu symbol that was around before Germany was even around. I think it's crazy they're trying to ban a Z. I think it's crazy right wingers are trying to call everything anti-Semitic. I think it's crazy the left wing is calling everything homophobic. So that's like the right wing controlled op is like, while the left is calling you a homophobe, racist, sexist, xenophobe, anti-Mexican or something, even though you're probably more Hispanic than them, the right wing's calling you an anti-Semite and a Putin propaganda. It's like it is like a little controlled game they're playing. So I really drive this home. I don't really care what people think because I don't think I'm going to have a career or a life or a freedom or ability to travel if we keep going down this road. I think it's going to be dark for everybody. I don't think it's going to be helpful to America, Israel, China. China's back on a lockdown. China is authoritarian. They're godless communists. I don't agree with that, but I do respect China somewhat for actually having somewhat of a national identity because I think it's important to fend off the globalists. And you want to be yourself. You don't have to be everyone else all the time. I love the world, but I don't need to be everything all the time, right? I'm me. I have a past as well. So, I think China does a better job of like having a national identity than America and the West, but they're also godless communists. I don't, some people are like, you're a Chinese agent. It's like, I'm the furthest thing from a Chinese agent. I just call it like I see it. I'm not just going to say this is one of the lowest forms of like being a political analyst. It's just saying, I condemn Russia. I condemn China. I condemn Nick Fuentes. I condemn liberals. I condemn AOC. Like, who cares? What does that mean? It just means I'm not even going to address what they're saying. I just condemn them and I win. It's so dumb. So it's like I'm not just going to condemn Putin or condemn Zelensky or condemn China. I'm going to have a conversation about it. Here's what I think they're doing right. Here's what I think they're doing wrong. It's not this big virtue signal game. Well, they have the Uyghur camps. Well, you live in America. Do you know how many countries America's bombed? They lock their own people in. America is not the beacon of humanity, and we have our equivalent to Uyghur camps right here, and they're doing it to your children. So, I'm not going to virtue signal about China. If that's what they're doing, I got to clean my own backyard before I go over to China and tell them how to act because we have our equivalents to what they're doing right here as well. But in general, China is, I think, godless communist. And it's not healthy. It's not long term. They're locking their own people in their houses again. In Shanghai, they have another lockdown. China sucks. No offense, but I don't agree with that godless authoritarianism. And China has such a rich history. I'm not a Taoist, but I do love the Tao, and I think it's a fascinating philosophy. There's certain principles that, as a Christian, they conflict, and it just doesn't bother me. It's not like I don't follow the Tao like a religion, but I do think that there's wisdom and principles in that are profound. Anyway, that's like the great history of China. China is I believe the home of Taoism, the Tao Te Ching, one of my favorite books ever. And that is a good mindset, not what they're doing now. The godless communist capitalist thing they're doing, it's like, it's creepy. China sucks now. They need to get back to the Taoist roots. And, there's more Christians in China now. I've seen Christianity's growing naturally when you have this godless system. People will go to God. But, China needs to get back to its roots. Russia's authoritarian, but they have more biblical and Christian principles probably than a lot of the rest of the world right now. They're building churches. Like, that's one of the places that Christianity is not getting completely ruined. Canada, they're burning churches. No one seems to care. America, they're burning churches. No one seems to care. We funded a war in Syria, burning churches. Like, there's a war on Christianity in the world. And, the wicked, evil media is, of course, going to pick a fight with the only place that's not bowing down. Do you notice that? They get both parties, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, to convince you to go fight a war in a country. It's never like the most radical Muslim place. Those are our friends. Those are the rebel groups we're funding. Those are the countries we do oil business with. We go to places that are moderate, there's Christians, and then we just like blow things up and fund like terrorist groups or rebel groups and say that we didn't know what they're going on. Like, there's been a war on Christianity, and our media, in my perspective, is brainwashing Christians in America, liberals in America to not care because it's Obama, or you think you're fighting radical Muslims. In reality, there's been a huge concerted effort to weed any Christian stronghold out of the world. I've seen it happening. So, with the Russia thing, that's in the back of my head. I don't agree with like communist China. I don't agree with Russia, but you read some of the tweets from Chinese officials, and it sucks because they lie often. I mean, China is not like a truth teller. They're liars all the time. But they've been making some good points about America. They said, how the hell could you, prosecute somebody for war crimes when you guys are the biggest war criminals on the planet? It's a fact. Nobody, and I love America, but nobody's invaded more countries, overthrown more, leaders than America in the last 30 years. So if we're going to do it, I mean, the least we could do is just shut the hell up about it. I'm not going to sit and cry and say I'm so bad, but, I think if people just sit back, it's like the last thing we should do is then, try to prosecute somebody for doing 1/30th of what we did. Like, we are becoming such huge hypocrites. Donna said, "You're off at my pad." I'm gonna put this on. Goodbye. You're done at my pad. I don't know what I even said today. Like, I just can't say anything anymore without people getting upset. I didn't even know what I was saying was controversial. Someone said, "Anomaly, you're great at pointing out the obvious. How about spelling out some solutions? And please don't save voting. We don't know how this works." Well, Dennis, I mean, if you're gonna like say something rude to me, at least try to get your spelling right, because you didn't. But it's like, I don't know. I had no idea so many people were so upset. It's like, I thought people came here to listen and have a conversation and get their things on. I had no idea that people came here to just complain all the time. Like, it's like I'm in your computer or something, and it's like I'm making you listen to me all the time. Like, no, I don't think that's how it works. I think you're a free man somewhat, and you can, go to a different podcast or something. It's like, I don't know. I would think that I haven't really, the talk I just did 5 minutes ago, that's not really something I've talked about very much. So I would think it would be interesting to some people, but maybe not. Someone said I left fake book. Someone said Donna needs some vitamin D. Donna's the new Karen. No, it's all good. Ray said America loves arguing. No, that is definitely true. And I think that's kind of what's destroying America. It's not even just the left or just the right. People like to just argue, right? And do nothing. So I get what he's saying. What's the solution? But to me, I'm telling you what the solution is. I think the solution is people doing more. Like, I'm doing media. I'm trying to, do what I can. In my perspective, like, I don't think America is going to be made great again by just Trump, and not blaming Trump, but he'll get on television and say, McDonald's is amazing. They're an American business, like, he doesn't talk about health and root level stuff. I'm not saying he's a bad politician. I'm just saying make America great again, to me, has to be ideological. People can't just sit in the stands and watch Trump and say he's going to save me while he's talking about how great high fructose corn syrup is. You need to realize that the food in America is illegal in other countries. Until Trump talks about that, America's not going to be made great again. People are getting fatter, kids are getting fatter, people are getting sicker, chronic illness is going up. Why? Because of your food. Your food is illegal in Europe. It's not to blame him, but what's the solution? I mean, take care of yourself. But to me, we're being bamboozled on every front. And most politicians, I would say Thomas Massey maybe talks about it, but it's not a popular thing to talk. It's just like a big show. You get what I'm saying? Like root level stuff. We're eating dough conditioner at fast food restaurants that's banned in other countries. They banned it because it's not good for you. It's making you sick. It's making you fat. It's not normal. It doesn't even taste good. Just go get normal bread. It tastes better than what they're giving you. No one's talking about it. So how do you think where are we, what's the solution? Not just going to a Trump rally and just saying, oh, well, if I vote for him, it's all going to get made better. It's really not, because it's part of the arena. I'm not saying he's wrong. I would vote for him over Biden, but it's this game where like the left fights with the right fights with the left. They're mad over this. You fight with AOC. You vote for Trump. He votes for Biden. You complain. And it's just this cycle of like, nothing really ever changes, because the core of what's going on is like we're being fed garbage, more garbage than the rest of the world. We are the pharmacy and the disgusting food capital of the world, and nobody seems to care about it. So, it's not to complain about it, but what's the solution? I mean, I have 30. I say it all the time. I guess I don't appreciate when people are like, what's the solution? Shut up, to talk to the next topic. It's like, geez, okay. I'm like a show monkey to some people. They just kind of like, they're like, all right, shut up. And I'll shut the hell up and talk about this. And I'm like, all right, geez, you could have said it nicer, but it's okay. I want to say this real quick. Wait, someone said, food ought to be treated as sacred as sex. Our ancestors once paid tribute to the creator through their sacrifice of food. Here's something crazy that happened on Twitter. All right, so I don't, in the last couple of months, I barely talked about Trump. I said one thing about the food industry and Trump, and I just said, hey, America will be made great again when Trump starts, telling people to work out and exercise and get fit and talking about food, and not just like this big like idol worship. Like you go to just watch him and everyone claps. Like that, to me, I said something like that. And this lady, like, this just shows you, because there's really brainwashed people on the left wing. I mean, people are gone. But on the right wing, there's also people that are kind of brainwashed, in my opinion, too. So I said this statement about food, right? And this lady is so obsessed with Trump that she says to me, Anomaly, shut up. Food's not important. Food isn't important, Anomaly. Just shut up and vote for Trump. And I'm like, are you listening to yourself? Maybe not, because you're so like emotional. It's like some of these women, my goodness, but it's men too. I'm like, food's not important? You like Donald Trump so much that you're going to tell me to shut up because you think food is not important? If you don't think food is important, you probably should starve. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I want to starve you, but it's like, if you're so obsessed with this leader that you're going to yell at me and say food is not important, you literally deserve to starve. And I'm just saying from like a godly, energetic level, like you don't even appreciate food. You're trying to shut me up about food. You should starve. You know what I'm saying? You will starve. You're going to starve. Germany, there's not food on the shelves. Like the media and our system, like it's that wicked. So that type of stuff just bugs me out, where I'm like, I don't care if you disagree with me. I don't care. Like, but if you're going to try to like shut me up and tell me food's not important because you like Donald Trump, like someone said food's really important. Yeah, obviously it's like extremely important. Someone said got my seeds. Yeah, it's just, but that's what happens. And this is what I wouldn't say preach, but this is what I try to enlighten people with. You can't hate. You become what you hate. If you have too much hate for the other side, you become an idiot. You want to be able to learn from everything and ignore what you don't like and combat it, but then leave it alone and enjoy your life. The right has like, it's this unhealthy relationship going on. And it's not everybody. There's a lot of great things going on the right wing, but people want to talk about solutions politically. Here's my big concern. The right is based off the idol worship of Donald Trump right now. Let me go to this rally and shut people. Don't talk about food. Food's not important. Food is very important. And if he's not talking about it, he's not your be all end all. There's a conversation we have, but it's like, we just need to go and look at this guy. And, he's McDonald's is American. And it's like, it's just like kind of cringe, And then it's like, we got to trigger the left and make them mad. And it's like, it's this whole cycle where it's like, it doesn't. I don't think it's going to work. I think making America great again has to be people need to be great. Like being great doesn't just mean watching Donald Trump say funny things and being like he's going to save my whole life. Like wipe my butt. I don't know. It's like being great means America needs to be inspired. Let Trump inspire you to do something great. If he's not addressing the food, you can do it. So, I think there's way too much idol worship on the right. And you saw that with the Q stuff. That it became, and it's like if the Q thing inspires you to run for office or like learn about conspiracies or whatever, do your research. But a lot of people, it was like they just became this PR team for like Trump the idol. And it's like, if you disagree with him, it's like, it's not health. That's not making America great again. You want to be inspired to work out, exercise. We need to get back to like, being a fit nation, a mentally fit nation. We're psychologically in the tubes. We're probably more psychologically damaged as a nation than ever before. We are physically less healthy than we've ever been. So a real leader would try to inspire his people to get healthier mentally, physically. This nation's never going to be great if Trump just sits up there selling vaccines at McDonald's and QAnon people are telling you not to question him because he's Nikola Tesla's like grandson. It's like, that's not great. That's not going to make America great again. And it's not, and I'm not saying it's his fault, but it's like the cult idol worship around it has become like to the point of like, yeah, that it's going to be a cycle. It's going to be 4 years, a good show, a few wins, a lockdown, Operation Warp Speed, out of office, January 6th. Like that's what you're going to get. Am I kidding you? No, I don't know. Are you kidding me? What did I say? I'm not even sure. Someone says stateism is ideology. Like people get so mad at me. I don't even know what I said. Someone said ban Harrison. I don't even know who Harrison is. Someone said this dude anomaly be spitting. Thank you. Someone said Q means to question everything. Well, you don't question Trump. Q means to question everything except for Trump and the QAnon movement itself. If you question Trump or that, people freak out and they're like, "That's my religion now. I'm smarter than you. I've read all the message boards. Trust the plan, man." And you're like, "All right, bro, question everything except for your idol worship around a politician who ran around the country selling Moderna shots. You can question everything, just don't question him. You have to like hallucinate that there's like secret messages that only you could see on the back when he's working with Fauci to fight Fauci. He's elevating Bill Gates to take him to, it's like, to me, it's as brainwashy as the left wing. It's not as bad, but it's like, you have to lie to yourself in order to be a part of it. So I don't think they question everything. I think that's a perfect example of being so open-minded your brain falls out. Like, there's a reason that the Bible says don't idol worship and don't do that to human beings. It meant what it said. It didn't say, "Oh, don't do this unless Q comes around." Like there's a better way to learn information besides doing that. But if that's what people want to do, I've had my piece about that. I've spoken about it for years. It is what it is. Let's see. All right. Well, at least some people are laughing. I think I'm funny, but let's see. Someone said, "Eat your bananas, people." I do like bananas. Shout out bananas. All right. I'm glad people are laughing. Sometimes people are like, I get on my Instagram live, people are like, "Jump, monkey, jump." They treat me like an animal. They're like, "Shut up, anomaly, and do what I say." I'm like, all right, geez, you could have said it nicer, but someone said Operation Trust. Here's a good one for a Monday. What's your take on abortion? All right, so when I was younger, I would say I was naive and I was like, whatever, it doesn't affect me. I'm not a woman. I don't think about it. But what really woke me up to being pro-life was how evil the Democrats got. I really didn't have a big stance on it, to be honest, until I saw the Ralph Northam video and I started following it. It's like with the gay thing. Like I was actually pro-gay marriage when I was 20. I mean, I'm 19. I wasn't religious at the time. What do I care? You know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking about anything. So it didn't even bother me, but it's like watching the slippery slope happen in real time has made me pro-life. So I watched them go from, here's my perspective over it. There is a discussion to be had about when it becomes a life. I think that should be allowed in a free society. Like my sperm is technically alive, but is it really? And then an egg, and then they get together and they make a baby. So it is like a gray area, in my opinion, to figure out exactly where it becomes alive. Some people think the heartbeat. Some people think, right when the sperm and the egg meet. So I get the debate around that. I understand that it's a sensitive topic. I understand the pro-life side. I thought I understood the pro-choice side. But the left wing has become so brainwashed that they're moving the Overton window from, is it from the egg, the sperm, the first trimester, second trimester, third trimester? And then you had Ralph Northam talk about an afterbirth abortion. I might even have it here. Once I heard this, I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're really just trying to kill babies. Like it's not even like a right wing saying like that's what they're trying to do. I have the video right here. I mean, tell me that this isn't just after birth murder of a baby. Like what else could this be?
If a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So
when a baby's being resuscitated, look up what resuscitated means. Brought back to life, kept alive. And then they're talking about killing it after they kept it alive. Like once I saw that, and then the only ones who knew that that was wrong were Christians and right wingers. It's not even left or right to me anymore because a lot of right wingers are brainwashed as well. But it's like good and evil. It's separating like oil and vinegar. If you don't know that after birth abortion is wrong, and only one side of the political debate knows that, then there's evil in this world. So I am pro-life now, and I'm okay with the right doing whatever they want with the pro-life stuff. I mean, once you're dealing with that level of evil, they've lost my respect completely. They're not trying to have a conversation about when it's really alive. They're just trying to push it further and further and kill. Like, that's my opinion. It's the same with like gay stuff. Like, here's my thoughts on like gay and transgender, etc. Listen, I'm not God. I'm not a doctor. People can say, there's nobody that's gay. There's people that are born gay. I don't know, but my take on it is this. I think the amount of people who are born that way versus the amount of people that are saying they're gay, the numbers are crazy because they're pumping it into kids' heads all the time. You're gay, you're gay, you're gay, you're gay, you're gay, you're gay. Kids are like 3 years old. Yeah, they're going to like, I'm gay, I'm trans. This is not natural. Most of this is not natural, in my opinion, because left wingers have gone so psychotic. But here's the thing that I would be willing to talk about. I think the amount of people that really feel that way naturally is very, very low. However, some people will say, well, that's not possible. And, I think like there are kids, and I'm not trying to say it's the same, but there are kids that are born with two heads. There are people like Hasbulla and Andy Milonakis, they're born with like growth deficiencies and stuff. Technically humans are not supposed to do that, but there are people with anomalies in, their genetic sequence or some sort of disease where it stunts their growth or something happens. So the point I'm not saying it's a disease, but I'm just saying if that can happen in other things, like there could be Siamese twins and all this sort of crazy medical anomalies, then I think there could be in a small amount some anomalies where people feel, against nature, where they don't want to procreate and do that. I would think that there might be a small amount like that normally, and there's a conversation to be had around it. However, that's not what you see from the left now. They're not trying to really figure out who feels this way from birth or who is naturally this way or who feels like they're born in the wrong body psychologically and why do they feel that way. They're saying, we're going to make your kids gay. We're going to make your kids trans, and you're a homophobe if you don't agree with this. So, it's the same sort of thing. I think that conversation is very similar to the abortion conversation. It's a tough conversation. It's a controversial conversation, but there is certain areas where I think there needs to be a discussion, but the right, the left, in my opinion, is not trying to have that discussion at all. They are clearly the evil side. They are clearly going too far. And, they have proven to me, whether it be with the LGBT or the abortion, the slippery slope is real. They're more evil than I thought they were a couple of years ago, and they will never stop. They have no chill. They have no common sense. And the further they go, the more they try to censor. And I don't know. I guess what I was saying with the other stuff is I don't think people understood what I was saying. So I don't know. I'm reading some of the comments. Maybe people misconstrued it. I'm just saying when you're an adult, I think there's conversations to be had. If someone feels a certain way, I would want to talk to them. If I really cared, I wouldn't just say F you. I'd be like, why do you feel this way? Do you really feel this way? Is this how you were born? Do you think you were born this way? Did something happen? This is like a real conversation. I'm not talking about teaching it on kids. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. I think that's all crazy. I'm just saying, there are people that are born with anomalies. And I think at a certain point, you know, in a moral society, and someone came to a teacher or someone came to their parent and said a question, you would try to walk them through it and honestly talk about it versus just saying, oh, that's what you are. Here, take hormones, or, oh my God, that's who you are. It's like, I don't know that that's really true. So, I can't, I don't, with abortion or the LGBT stuff, I think the left has gone way too far, and they've made it impossible to have a conversation about it because they're always lying about what you're saying and trying to censor you. So at this point, I'm 100% fine with the right wing doing whatever they want because, the slippery slope is real. The right is trying to have a conversation. The left is shutting it down. So at this point, if the right wing gets in power, they have to put an end to this. Like that's all I feel about it. Same with the big tech stuff. Like they're not trying to debate. They're not trying to be like, well, this is how we feel. It's just like they're going further and further and further, and they got to stop. So, I think, I'm okay with right-wing people when it comes to abortion or LGBT stuff. I'm totally okay with them doing whatever they need to do in order to put an end to the slippery slope because, it's not like, oh, we can have a conversation with the left and figure it out. Oh, they don't want to have a conversation. They lie about everything all the time. What you're saying, the bill you're passing, they don't care. So when the right gets back into power, do what they have to do. I've watched the slippery slope. I mean, I'm going to play this clip again, just so you know how sick these people are. And this is my question to like progressives. And I know I still have friends with Bernie supporters. I'm wondering, like, are they doing it to save face? Do they still really believe this? Or have people on the left that have a soul and have a spirit, have they identified how evil the Democratic Party is and how the left wing has doesn't seem to want to address this? Because to me, even as somebody, like, abortion's not like, there's some Christian and conservatives where that's their number one issue. They're out this was never, I didn't think about this until I watched this video and I was like, oh my gosh, this is how evil it is, right? So if you're left wing and this is not a big deal to you or you don't want to talk about it, then I don't really want to be on your side because this is like, if you allow this type of stuff to succeed in society, you have no future, you have no freedom, you have no children.
If a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion.
These people are like straight up demonic. It's beyond just a controversial opinion. They have zero soul. So if only people on the right can figure that out, then, something's missing on the left. And progressives, if that's not a topic you guys want to talk about because it doesn't work with your audience, then I would be highly suspicious of who your audience is because that's crazy. It's unbelievable. Someone said Gomorrah was destroyed. It was so evil. People need to watch out. That's the thing, like evil and like going against nature, it doesn't last. It doesn't stand the test of time. So evil can succeed in the short term, but it's not going to win in the long term. I fully believe that. It's like if you told me 1 + 1 is 2, and I said 1 + 1 is 7, and it was wrong, but I had everybody on my side, the media, celebrities. It's going to work for a while because you have a lot of power, but it's not the truth. So these people are going to drive so many people insane. The karma that they're going to have of doing this much evil to this many people, I mean, they are going to drive themselves insane. They are going to hell, in my opinion. But, I agree with you. It's like at a certain point, reality sets in. If you say the ice caps are melting in 2020 and they don't melt, you could lie all you want. You could brainwash kids in the schools, but if they're still there, they're still there. You can make an excuse. You could fact check. You could do they're like a paranoid psycho. That's what the left has become. They're paranoid because they're lying about everything. So it's this constant struggle. Like, I don't have to cover everything up all the time. Someone lied about me and called me a CIA agent. It's not true, but I'm not. So it doesn't bother me because it's like I've been called Chinese, Messiah. Like, people have said everything, whatever. But the left is everything that people are accusing them of. So they got to cover it all up. Oh my gosh, fact check, fact check. They're evil. All they're doing is lying, 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 and they got to. It's like, just if you tell the truth, you don't gotta feel that paranoid all the time. You don't have to be that neurotic. They're that neurotic. They're like a guilty. They're like guilty, and they're like, how do we can't. Yeah, just do the right thing, and maybe people will like you. Maybe you can actually have like rallies where people respect you. It's like they could never do what Trump is doing. You know or anyone. I'm not saying he's perfect, but it's like people actually want to listen to him. Like they're like hiding behind PR teams, hiding behind celebrities. They don't have that type of energy. Someone says saw an old clip of yours in a David Icke video. Really? That's pretty cool. What was that? Which video was that? Can you let me know? That's interesting. Someone said B.O.B. Elements mixtapes are filled with conspiracy theory. Yeah, no, I know B.O.B. The Elements. What was it? The Earth mixtape. Yeah, that one was fire. I like the song Science, Bro, and I don't even know. I can't. B.O.B. has a new song. You should check it out. It's really good. Someone said yes, they're neurotic. Someone said, fun fact, Bill Gates' daddy was on the board of Planned Parenthood. Yeah, his father, I believe that is true. I'd have to look into it, though. Let's see. Someone said, same with Absol System, Control System. Yeah, that's a great album, too. I love Absol. He hasn't done that much recently, but he's got some cool music. Someone said the rapture is close. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. It definitely seems that way, but here's the thing. If you study World War II, a lot of the same stuff was actually happening before. Like in Berlin, they were having like transgender stuff, drag shows, like, all this stuff that's going on now that seems so new. It was also happening in World War II. So I do feel like Christians always feel like the rapture is close because the world is so evil in so many ways. But if you talk to a Christian 100 years ago, they're telling you the rapture is right around the corner. If you lived through World War II, there's bombs dropping, there's all sorts of degeneracy going on. You're thinking like, oh, this is the end, So I try to be, at least for me, I mean, people can think what they want, but on one hand, I wouldn't be surprised if it was close, but I feel like there's always that sort of mentality. Someone said, anomaly, you will be very happy when you're raptured. Well, I would hope that it's better than Earth. But I try to make the most of my time here. What's up, Florida? How are you? Let me see. Someone said yes, but Israel wasn't a nation at that time. Well, I think Israel was either created or recaptured or whatever, depending who you talk to. Um, by the Rothschilds in the Balfour Declaration. So, that's a big, I mean, World War II was definitely like setting up for the state of Israel for sure. Check out the Balfour Declaration. It's interesting history. Someone said, now we're a nation divided. Yeah, we're definitely, the media is doing a number on us, but that's our job to bring it back. Anomaly, are you going to move or hold the state? I'm kind of just, there's pros and cons to everything. So I'm trying to just enjoy the moment, do what I can, and figure out where I want to go. There's certain states with good state taxes, but you know, there I would say locally, it really depends where you live. Cause like if you live in Florida, like where in Florida do you live? Do you live in like Naples? Do you live in like, you know, uh Orlando? Because if you live in Orlando, I mean, you're better off in California in a conservative area. So I think, state taxes, income taxes, certain freedoms, et cetera, place to raise your kids, that's all important. And I would say the red states are definitely better. It's better to be in a red state and red area. But, do you have an ocean near you? How's the weather? What's the winter like? There's always going to be pros and cons. But, if I ever move out of the state, I'm not moving to a liberal area. Like I would never move. Like people are like, I'm moving to Florida. Like where? I would never move to Orlando. I would never move to a blue area of that. At that point, it's like, what's the point of even going? So I don't know. I got to see how this year goes off and how work goes, etc. Someone said Klaus Schwab has a young leaders organization. Trudeau and many leaders are alumni. Good old Santa Claus. We love Klaus Schwab. He's like Santa Claus. He's bringing global communism and interconnectedness with corporations and countries. Someone said, here's a hot take. The Bible, sorry, wrong one. Someone said the Bible does not say rapture. That's a hot take. That's going to trigger some people. Let's see. Jeremiah said, getting tired of you not talking about what your title says. Well, Jeremiah, God bless you, my brother. This is called a live show. So it's a live show. You're live right now, and you missed the beginning of it. So just think about it like you're watching Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson says he's going to talk about Nancy Pelosi for the first 15 minutes, but you come in at over an hour. You're an hour late. No problem. So we appreciate that you're here. I'm grateful that you caught the end of it, but it's a live show, so we don't just loop the beginning of it for people who come in an hour late. So it's like walking into a comedy show at the end and being like, hey, how come you didn't do the joke you want? It's like, bro, you missed it. It's okay. You could if you really want to watch, you could rewind it. I'd appreciate that. Someone said, don't get triggered. Me or him? Probably both of us. At least someone thinks it's funny. Someone said you're live. Yeah, we're this is a live show. I don't know what to tell you, my guy. You want me to run back the beginning of it? If you want, you know what? I'll do it right for you. I'll give you like 30 seconds of the intro, okay? Since you're Hey, what's going on, folks? Today I want to talk about World War Z, a fictional movie, and how a lot of the symbolism from it has manifested itself into reality, including the Z, which now Al Jazeera says Germany may prosecute the use of pro-Russia Z symbol. So we're going to talk about the similarities from the movie and what's going on in reality. Once again, I guess Russia is using that Z symbol, and they're talking about pretty much banning it, treating it like the swastika, just completely outlawing it. And the parallels between that and really just the movie World War Z, a 2013 horror action movie I haven't seen. It says on Google, when a UN investigator, Jerry Lynn, aka Brad Pitt, and his family get stuck in an urban gridlock, he senses that it's no ordinary traffic jam. His suspicions are... All right, you get it. Angela said with the $20 super chat, are you attending the End the Mandates rally in downtown Los Angeles, April 10th? Oh, sorry, I got to stretch. No, I'm not going to be there. God bless everybody. I wish everybody luck and a good time. I lived in Los Angeles for 7 years, so I don't understand why I would go back my protest was leaving, I want nothing to do with that city. I love the people there. There's some fun venues I used to go to. I have some friends there, but the government is despicable, and I want nothing to do with it. So everybody does their own thing. I think protests serve a purpose. I definitely think raising awareness is good, etc. But I don't really see the point of it, to be honest. I'm not saying it's like there's no point, but it's like LA, like they didn't earn their freedom back. They kind of just got it given. I don't get why I would like fly to DC and march and wear a mask on a plane and fly home. Like, I don't know what that does. I spend my money in a conservative county. I support USA businesses. I take my business to, and I take my, money to, a place where I want to spend it. And that's my protest. I don't drive to LA. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to venues there. LA is like a no-go zone to me. The people there don't respect me. Not the people, but the government. They treat me like a slave and a prisoner, and they want to treat me like a lab rat. So I have nothing for LA at this point. I've lived there for 8 years. I appreciate the people there. It's like Sodom and Gomorrah to me. There's nothing for me there. So I don't know why I would go. How much is gas in California? I don't know. $6, $7. I don't really drive that much, so it doesn't affect me too much. Like I work on my computer, but maybe, I don't know, $6, $7, maybe 5. I'm not sure. Someone said you'd have to pay me to go to LA. Yeah, I guess like even with I think about everything really deeply. So it's like I don't understand what me going there would do. I don't think it would do anything. It would do something for my career. It's like I would take pictures and people would be happy to see me. I like protests, but I like to do pragmatic protests. I do protests in my community. I hold it down for my community. Like, you get what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be rude about it, because I think there is a huge benefit to protests. But it's like there's some people, you'll fly to DC, you'll go to some mandate protest, you'll wear a mask on the plane, you'll wear a mask to get in to get in your hotel, you go take selfies, and then you go wear a mask and you go home and you go back to a city where there's masks or something. Like, it's like I don't understand what it's doing. I don't understand where it's going, or what, like how it's going to solve something. To me, I just don't want to go to LA either. I think the crime is high. I think the politics suck. I don't even want to drive there. I don't want to be there. So I don't really get it. But I think the real protest is when people start, everybody who voted for Trump and everybody who has half a brain, they put their foot down, like that's the real protest, I think. But everybody's got their own strategy. I don't know. Like, people are like, come to DC, come here. Like, I don't want to go to, I don't like DC. I went to DC when I got invited to the White House. I'm not trying to be bougie, but I don't really ever want to go to DC unless I get invited by Trump, which I probably won't now that I've, called him out. But someone said I live in a very, very liberal county of Florida. Yeah, I mean, I bet it's probably similar to California. DeSantis does what he can, but if if your local government and the corporations, really start cracking down on you, there's not that much you could do. Let's see. Someone said Skid Row looks like a nightmare. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. Someone said California's dumping all their people off in AZ. Yeah, it's crazy what's going on in this country. But this is my recent thought. Like, okay, if you could find somewhere that you like I found somewhere that I like, I'm trying to keep where I'm at. Great, right? I don't care about LA anymore. It's not like I don't hate it. If I was born and raised in LA and I had like a family pride there and that's where I was from, then maybe I'd feel differently. And I respect people who do that. I wasn't born in LA, so I didn't have this huge like family connection to it. But I found a community I like, and I found somewhere that I like. And now my goal is to keep that great, and to, I do things off camera in my own community. Yeah, I've gone to the school board. I've gone viral for going to the OC school board or whatever, but like, I do things on a daily basis in my community where I'm trying to keep my community great. I'm trying to not let it turn into LA, so I don't care about LA. I don't care about DC. To me, it's like Sodom and Gomorrah. They've ruined it. They have disgusting politicians. Let them rot, if people aren't smart enough to vote for the other party, then that's what you get. I don't know. It's like, I'm more concerned with, like, there's a lot of people moving to Idaho. It's like, to me, that's the play, is like, find a community you like, keep it strong, and keep it great, and work towards not allowing it to turn into LA. I don't understand why, like, what would me going to DC and LA do? Like, I just don't. I'm not trying to be mean about it. I just don't. I don't get it. Like, I really don't. It's like, what is that going to do? Find a place, keep it nice, hold it down, and stop it from turning into LA. Like, I guarantee you, LA is going to be the same as it was in 2 weeks as it was today. Like, it's not going to move the needle at all. And I'm not trying to hate on it. I think it's important. I don't know what, like, most of the people, like, a lot of people that are going to be there are probably not even going to be from there. So I just don't know where this is going. But someone said mountains too. Not trying to sound like a hater, but I felt this way about the January 6th thing too. Whenever I was like, I don't understand what you're doing, and thank God I thought that way, because I was like, what? You're going there for what? To do a thing? And then you think Mike Pence is going to, and I'm like, everyone's like, teacher, what? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel good about this. Someone says stop by Fort Lauderdale. I've been there before. It was cool. It was definitely cool. I liked it. Someone said facts. The Weimar Republic was wicked. That's true. I mean, yeah, if you saw what was going on there, you would think it was rapture times too, I think. What do I know or think about the food shortage? I think personally, I mean, I see it's pretty bad in Germany. It's worse than America, but I think the Western media hates you. I think I don't think people realize, like, it's not like, oh, they're liberal and they feel a different way. No, they hate you. I think they're going to try to starve people eventually. I don't think any of this is like random. That's just my personal belief. I don't think, oh, we messed up, we started a war, there's the COVID. Yeah, I get it. There's a virus, there's a war, but these leaders hate us. The media hates us. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to starve everybody. I mean, I'm not going to cry and be scared about it, but I think we're being run by some evil people, and if they can get away with it, they will try to you know cut people off from basic human rights like they've already done for 2 years. So I don't know where this is going. I'm sure there's a lot of legal battles going on, farmers versus the government. This is all beyond my knowledge because I'm not a farmer and I don't study, this type of stuff. But there's from people that have been bringing it to my attention, there is a lot of battles going on between farmers and government, between supply chains, etc. Sanctions, not just on Russia, but on you. Germany, 30% prices in some of their supermarkets went up. Like, it's crazy. I mean, Germany it's crazy because if you really think about Germany now, like Germany lost World War II, clearly, right? Their leader lost to Stalin and America, whatever. But it's like, that was weird. I don't know. Something cut out, but can you hear me still? I don't know what happened. Anyway, it said somebody joined, but that was very strange. They lost the war, so they got absolutely decimated. So in World War One, I believe Germany also lost the war, and that was kind of the reason that Hitler rose. Like, people were really upset. They were getting just destroyed by the world. Food prices were rising. They didn't have much, so like people were extremely desperate because before his rise, it's not like people were just hateful out of nowhere and they just like felt for that. That this is the history they don't really teach, where it's like they got absolutely massacred by the world, and they were in debt and the hyperinflation was happening. So people got extremely desperate. Anyway, after losing World War II, I mean, just look at Germany now. I'm just being honest. It's like, it's a shell of itself. It's like Angela Merkel's a joke. People hate themselves. They're locked down, forced masked. Their leaders are pretending to sanction Russia and sanctioning them. Prices are going up 30%. The food's off the shelves. It's like they're trying to create the same exact climate that led to World War II. Like it's like they're like purposely doing it or something. So, I'm not trying to say anything other than what happened, but that's kind of like my take on that. Even after World War II, I get that it's a complex situation when you have two leaders and, either you stay out of it or you choose a side. But we fought with Stalin. Stalin killed more people than Hitler. So we fought with a guy who killed people more than Hitler. We created the United Nations with him and China when China was being influenced by Mao Zedong. We created a communist jump off called the United Nations that's now destroying our freedom in this country, working with Facebook and stuff. Like, this idea that we just made out like bandits is just not true. Our media hates us. Our leaders hate us. The media hates leaders who aren't sold out. If you're not completely compromised, the media hates you. Even if you're like Trump and you're not totally compromised, but you're doing some things, they still hate you. If the media can't completely control you to destroy this country and destroy the Western world, they hate you. You know what I'm saying? Tulsi Gabbard, is she perfect? No. Is she totally controllable? Yeah, I know she went to the World Economic Forum, but she's really not. She actually, pivots from their agenda and they hate her for it, right? So it's like, I consider the food shortages like, I don't know. I wouldn't, when you have this evil of a system, I don't see how this turns around until enough people pay attention. Cause I think the amount of good people in this country exceeds the bad people. But good people are just too lazy. That's why with the Make America Great Again, I know people are like, oh, Anomaly hates Trump or whatever. That's not even it. I'm trying to inspire people. This can't be a movement of idol worship and watching the vaccine salesman put on his clown show. He's like a big circus clown. People got to be inspired to like really put their foot down or do something. You don't have to like do everything, but like in your own person, like, put your foot down, say no to some of the wickedness. And, if everybody did that in unison, the mask mandate would have been gone 2 years ago. That's why the protests, I mean, it's 2 years into a mandate. I don't get what a protest is even going to do. Like, the real protest is when 100 million people say no. If 100 million people are saying no, a couple thousand people in LA or 10,000 people in DC, it's not going to do anything. And that's not me being mean or hateful, because I think it's great to spread awareness. It's part of the equation. We all have to play our part. It's all great. But I just, like, the real protest is when everyone just stops doing it. That's the only thing that matters. So, I love protests because it's great. You meet people, it's fun. right? I smile. I meet people that like me. They tell me about what's going on in their life. I take pictures. I do videos. I have a blast at protests. Don't get it twisted. I love protests. I think they're useful. I have a great time at it, but I don't think it's really going to move the needle until enough. And how do you do that? Maybe the protest is a small part of awakening people for sure, but you know, I think that's where I hope that people on our side are paying attention is the goal with all of this, right? Of course, you want to do well for yourself and be protected, but the real goal would be to awaken as many people to the critical mass to the point where people realize what they're doing. And sometimes, it's good to be aggressive, but other times it's good to be compassionate and empathetic to get through to people, right? So I think a lot of there's a lot of people that are doing like truth or content, but it's like, the goal is really to get as many people to figure out what you're saying and give people the key to awaken themselves. And then they can do the rest of the work by themselves where I don't know, how everybody plays a role. There's different ways, comedy, some people like it straight. Some people like it angry. Some people like it chill. Everyone plays a role. But, I think that's really the goal here because with the press being this wicked, I mean, I'm literally, and I'm not trying to be like weird about it, but like I'm literally blown away that there's like millions of conservatives and Republicans that were okay with lockdowns. They're on the Ukraine train. It's like I don't care if you disagree with me, but it's like do people not realize where this is going? Do they not? At what point do you identify it and make this like a big issue? And people are asking me about the election. This is my biggest issue with the whole election Trump thing. I agree with a lot of people, but I think he played into the trap of the left wing, and now he's putting on a clown show almost as like a controlled opposition thing. That's what it kind of seems like to me, because for 3 years, everybody's talking about the election. Nobody's talking about the bipartisan takeover of America. They're not talking about Republicans caving. They're not talking about Trump selling vaccines. They're running in circles around the election. So Trump played into Biden's hands with the election, and then he plays the victim. Almost, it doesn't seem organic to me. It just doesn't. It doesn't seem authentic. Like I want to fix the election. It feels like Trump's just doing this like controlled op clown show where if he can just keep Republicans away from realizing that medical tyranny, their own freedom is being stripped away by both parties. If you could just keep these Republicans running in circles around the election for 5 years doing nothing, then they can succeed. So I don't know if that's purposeful or not. I'm not saying he's meaning to do it. But that's what it seems like to me, even with the January 6th. I didn't go because it's like I didn't trust him. He's like Moderna, election, Moderna. He sounds like a pull string doll, selling vaccines, election. Now people, they come here and they say, election. They're not thinking about any of this other stuff. Like, so, I think elections are important. Fair elections are important, but I don't believe in playing the victim. I don't believe in it, at all. So when I watch Trump play into the lockdown, sign the CARES Act, yell at Georgia for opening up early. If he would have opened the country up when Georgia opened up or tried to, maybe you would have had a more fair election, but he didn't do that. So it's like he screwed up. And then this is, in my opinion, this is where I kind of, I don't really like Trump that much anymore. He doesn't really take accountability for anything. He's always blaming an advisor, blaming somebody where it's like at a certain point, dude, if you're getting fooled 1,000 times, you run around the country selling Moderna shots, like either you're dumb or you're impressionable. Some people try to convince me like when it comes to like the food stuff, they're like Trump doesn't know about the food quality because he's older. And I'm like, I get it, but at the same time, if you don't know about the food quality that's being fed to hundreds of millions of your citizens, then you're not very bright. Somebody's got to tell him. And if he's not smart enough to learn when someone tells him or it's not his thing, maybe he's not like an idol savior or something. Maybe he's like a dummy. I don't know. So I guess like it's not that I think the elections are amazing. I just think that the way it's being portrayed is almost like a controlled sort of thing where it's like, let's just keep Republicans running in circles for 3 years, never addressing the core issue. But it is what it is. It's just my perspective. I don't care if people agree. Someone said, where do I stand on the Second Amendment? Hold on, I'll put that on the screen. I support the Second Amendment. And, just like the slippery slope, I believe that liberals, as much as they could claim that they're not, they would love to take everyone's guns away. And I think the Second Amendment's there for a reason. Look what's happening in Ukraine. They're trying to bring guns. They're selling weapons to Ukraine. You have the American government taking your taxpayer dollars and trying to take your guns. Meanwhile, they're trying to give guns to Ukrainians because Russia invaded. What if Mexico invaded us? What if Canada invaded us? What if China invaded? I know it's not right. We're not right next to some of these countries when it comes to China, but I mean, the Second Amendment's there for a reason. I fully support it, and I'm against any infringement on it. I think, the left is not coming in good faith. They don't have good intentions. There's food shortages, lockdowns. I mean, this is what the Second Amendment was for, to protect yourself from a tyrannical or a foreign government. And all of these things are possibilities right now. You're having World War, III starting to roll out, and you're trying to take our guns while you're giving guns to Ukraine. Dude, our media sucks. They're literally stealing your money, calling it taxes, and giving it to Ukraine and giving weapons to like civilians. But they don't want their own civilian. Dude, the media is exactly what Trump said it was. They hate you more, and they're trying to hurt you more than any foreign country. That's how bad the American press is. They're that bad. They want to take your money, give it to other countries, take your guns, give guns to other countries, and stop you from doing what they want Ukraine to do to defend themselves. They're allowing you to praise the Azov battalion, which even left-wing media admits has like neo-Nazi ties or whatever. You can praise them on Facebook now in defending their country. It's like, what? That would be like them allowing you to praise the KKK for defending the border, but not defending their ideology. Like, that's what they're doing. You can't defend the Azov battalion's ideology, but you can support them defending Ukraine. I mean, dude, our media is garbage. They're beyond evil. So I look at China and Russia like they're not our friends. But I look at the media like they are the worst because they're acting like they're your best friend. China's not acting like your best friend. Russia's not acting like your best friend. The media is acting like your best friend, and they're your worst enemy. That's my opinion. God bless them. I hope that they heal their hearts and they figure out what they're doing and how wrong it is, because it's not just going to hurt us. It's going to hurt them, their family, their future. They're not going to really have a future. So I don't know why they're doing this or who told them to do this and why, like what they think they're doing. It's like the Don't Say Gay bill. I don't care if you don't agree with the bill, but just be honest about the bill. Here's what's in the bill. Here's what it says. Here's why I disagree with it. Not, oh my God, he hates all gay people. It's like, shut up. You guys are such liars. No, I respect you not at all. And it's almost like they're trying to push people further towards the edge because say somebody has right-wing stances that are unpopular in the Republican Party. What do you think happens when you ban them from social media? They've made millions of people not care about anything because they're so ruthless. If you want to de-radicalize someone that actually is radical, you do so through defusing them, conversing with them, like giving them a space to outlet. You do not do so by taking away their bank accounts, treating them like terrorists. I mean, at a certain point, it's almost like they're purposely radicalizing people. I mean, that's how bad our media is. And if you look at the Gretchen Whitmer plot, during the lockdown, people were against lockdown. Why? I would consider a lockdown a human rights abuse, right? They're taking away your access to transportation, travel, beaches, spas, gyms. I mean, it's a human rights abuse. It's like slavery for the masses. Okay, so are we allowed to talk about it in America with our First Amendment? Oh, we're not. And, the Gretchen Whitmer plot, they're trying to kidnap the governor. What that did was make it look like anybody who peacefully and legally disagrees with the lockdown must be some sort of terrorist. Well, it turns out, BuzzFeed News reported that most of the people involved in that were FBI agents, including the people who plotted it. So you have our own agencies creating plots that are now really essentially shutting down anybody else from feeling that way. I mean, our own institutions, like I don't know who's listening to what, I can't really say, but it's like, Russia, Ukraine, China, like that, to me, that's a bigger concern, that our own government, our own media is working so hard to destroy our country, to take away our human rights and then make it like essentially illegal or, make it look like a fringe stance to want to breathe and want to go outside. I mean, it doesn't get much more evil than this. The further evil this gets is like food shortages, people starving, like that's where this goes. I'm not saying it to be edgy, but like where else could this possibly go? From abortion conversations to third trimester to after birth abortion, where do you think it goes next? You get what I'm saying? There is nowhere left for this to go. It either the pendulum flips back, everybody votes Republican and holds the Republican Party accountable, or, we go towards the more nefarious side. And I have faith in humanity. I think the pendulum will swing back, but I think it's important to identify like how twisted these people are. And, when I talk to them, I try to be as reasonable as I can and be like, listen, I'm not saying everybody's like, you're evil all the time, but like you're being manipulated by an evil force, whether it's ego, fear, pride, I don't know what it is, like emotions, and you're being manipulated. Like, I don't think everybody involved in this stuff in the media is evil, but they're doing the bidding of like the most evil plot. How are you going to try to infringe on the Second Amendment in America while you're literally stealing my money every year, tens of thousands of dollars from me, and then sending it over to Ukraine so they can arm themselves against an invasion? But we're not allowed to arm ourselves against an invasion. Your crime is rising in most major cities because liberals don't know how to run a city, and you're trying to weapon the like an innocent civilian. I mean, these people are. It's hard to figure out like how much more wrong could you possibly be. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like impressive how evil they are. It's like, are you right about anything? I have Bernie supporter friends who are right about some things, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're right about that. I mean, the left wing corporate Disney style, like they are the biggest liars literally I've ever seen in my life. Like, they're not right about anything. 10 years ago, I'm like, no, liberals are right about this, this, this. Conservatives are right about this, this, this. Now it's just like, what is the corporate neoliberal democratic left right about? I can't really think of anything that they're doing right. Even with like marijuana, or they're not going to like legalize it and get you out of jail. It's like they're going to control it, big government, they're going to regulate it. Yeah, now they've just, taken control of another plant. You can't even fish or collect rainwater in certain. You need a license to go fishing. You need you can't collect rainwater. I mean, we're like slaves to this is the big story over the left and the right. Like, you can't collect rainwater. You can't go fishing, and they're trying to take your guns away and tell you that it's crazy. I mean, these people are lost, man, and then send your tax dollars to a foreign country, but you can't go fishing. Like, this country kind of sucks now, but I love it. I appreciate it. But it's like, my goodness, we got a lot of work to do. And that's what, that's really what I'm trying to talk about with the Trump stuff. I'm not trying to hate on him, but I need to challenge MAGA. I need to challenge Trump. I have to. It's not I can guarantee you he's not going to where you think he's going. If you just sit there and drink a Diet Coke and watch him on Fox News, it's not going to happen that way. People got to get inspired. People need to, play a little role. That's really it. Like this, there's certain positions and certain people that play pivotal roles, but we all have to really get stronger, wiser, chiller, and put our foot down against tyranny. Because I mean, forced masking, forced injections. I mean, how the next wave of that, I highly doubt it's going to be, that kind. If it's to succeed, hopefully it doesn't. Let me see. Someone said I don't follow any unconstitutional laws. Yeah, I don't know. Someone said overfishing. Well, they have laws in certain areas that you can't even fish without a license. Like, you can't collect rainwater. I mean, it's just like, this is not how it's supposed to go. This is not what the government's supposed to do. Like, hyper regulate everything. It's a little much, in my opinion. Someone said Elon's teaming up with Trump. Danger, danger. As long as it goes in the right direction, it is what it is. But I mean, we'll see what they do if they really do team up. Someone said Trump never condemned the injection. Well, here's the thing. I'm not asking him to condemn the injection because he funded it. I mean, he deserves credit. I mean, you talk about Bill Gates, Fauci, Trump is the father of the vaccines, in his own words. I'm the father of the vaccines. I don't care if he doesn't condemn it, but he's so, like, this is what really annoyed me. And I want to try to break it down as chill as I possibly can. Like, I don't just look at Trump as a politician. I used to not. He's like a leader. He's the leader of the free world. People look up. If he says election, they say election. If he says Moderna, they say Moderna. If he says, Biden, they say Biden. Like, a lot of people follow his every word. They'll talk about the election for 100 years if Trump does, but the second Trump talks about something else, they'll talk about something else. So he has this control over a lot of people. In 2021, he could have done anything with his time, even being off social media. If you're on television, like, for me, all I have is my word, folks. I don't have a lot. I have my word. I have my voice. I have my passion. That's all I have. And no one could ever take that away. If I ran around Fox News and Newsmax for a full year selling Moderna and Pfizer shots, you should think to yourself, oh, Anomaly's compromised. Oh, yeah, they got Anomaly. He's a big pharma sellout, because even if I wasn't against it, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your leadership. That was his leadership for a full year. I have like zero respect for Donald Trump. I think he's Benedict Arnold. I think he's a fraud. I think he's a coward. I think his legacy, he should be ashamed of himself. If he wants to be president for 4 years, that's fine. But, I don't make the rules. He knows deep down in his heart and soul, he's a fraud. I know it. Anybody with half a brain knows it. So, he's better than Biden, of course. In a ring full of degenerates, he's the king clown at the castle because he's the funniest and realest one. But as far as like, he went from here to here with anybody with a soul. And, what else is it? It's like he could have been telling people stuff, dropping truth bombs, like giving people direction. But all he did 2020 for a full year, vaccine sales, vaccine sales, vaccine sales, vaccine sales. He didn't even talk about the mandates barely until people started booing him. And then he started getting around to it. I mean, he played you right into that trap. He was the Trojan horse into communism, Operation Warp Speed, CARES Act. And that's why I say with the election, I think elections need to be more fair. However, the way Trump did it, I feel like Trump was just controlled opping people, like run in circles around me for 3 years while I sell vaccines. Yeah, run in circles around me. Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, so good. Keep running, my little patriots. Keep running circles around me. Come to January 6th, my little patriots. Oh, you got set up by the FBI? Oh, too bad. I'm not going to bail any of you guys out. I'm going to bail out Lil Wayne and Kodak Black. Oh, yeah, election. Keep running circles around me as I go on Newsmax and Fox News, and I'm just going to keep selling shots, and they're so great, and they saved the world from the Spanish flu, and I'm the father of the vaccines. He's compromised. I mean, anybody that still is like, oh, my God, he's going to save me. It's like, you get what I'm saying? Someone said disagree. I don't really care. I mean, it's fine. You don't have to agree, but that's kind of what happened. So, as a leader, that's where his leadership went in 2021. Ramona said, shut up. I mean, emotional women, it's fine. I get it. You're emotional. You've put your godlike trust and heart and soul into Trump, and the truth bothers you. I'm out. Bye. Don't care, folks. Haven't cared for a year. Don't care now. It's someone said he didn't do that. He absolutely did do that. In 2021, he went on 10, 12 different news programs. Every single one, he would say, I saved the world from the Spanish flu. I saved the world. But nobody trusts Biden. They don't want the vaccine because of Biden. If I was in office, they would be getting the vaccine. Okay? Everybody trusted me. There would be no protests. He did that all year. If you don't want to hear it, lie to yourself. Go ahead. Lie to yourself. I don't care. Lie to yourself. Ruin your country. Fall into the trap. Run right back into the Trojan horse. Ruin the country for your grandkids. I don't care. That's what you want to do. If you can't tell the truth to yourself, it's on you. That's absolutely what he did. But if people don't want to, someone said, great, you just lost me again. You lost yourself. It's all good. I don't care. I've said this 20 times. If people don't want to hear it, it happened. It was reality. If you want to ignore reality, then it's all good. Someone said he did that though. I mean, it's absolutely what he did. I'm just saying as a leader, like if I get banned from social media, all I have is my voice and my soul. They took Trump's soul. He's a soulless puppet now. You could like him better than Biden. I like him better than Biden. I'd vote for him over Biden. I like him better than Biden. He's a better politician, but he's a soulless puppet. That's his legacy. He is not a hero. He is a soulless puppet. At crunch time, he let them suck his soul out, and he ran around Fox News and Newsmax and Republican radio shows and sold vaccines for Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci and served as a PR team to try to dupe MAGA people who he just set up at the Capitol to think that he saved the whole world with them. That's what he did. I mean, that's his legacy now. I don't care. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to impress people. I'm trying to impress God. I'm sure I fall short, but I will never sell my soul like Trump did. I will never be as compromised as that. I wouldn't allow it. I would rather them do whatever they had to do to me. I'm not giving up my soul and my entry into the gates of heaven, for your little games. And that's what he did. So, I don't really care what people think. That's what happened in my opinion. So I don't know. If I'm just telling you, treat me that way. If I ever run around and sell that many big pharma shots like Trump did 30 times in 2021, look at me and say, oh, Anomaly is a shell of himself. He's a compromise. Like, if anyone did, if Candace Owens did that, if DC Drano did that, if the Hodge twins did that, if David Harris did that, if anybody did that, think about, just use your brain for a second. If any of us did that, right? Me, Candace, Drano, Hodge twins, whoever, pick any of your favorite MAGA people. No one, do you notice nobody did that? No one did that in MAGA. Nobody, no one did what Trump did. Not a single person. Do you know why? Because they're not all compromised. They have a soul. David Harris has a soul. DC Drano has a soul. Candace Owens has a soul. Do you know why they didn't act like Trump in 2021? Because they have a soul and they actually like you. If anyone did what Donald Trump did in 2021 and sold the vaccine to the extent he did and said he saved the world and, everybody trusted him with the vaccine, they would have been banned and banished from MAGA. If I did that, I would have been banned. I should be banned, not banned from the internet, but I should be a disgraced member of, conservative movement. I'm a clown. I'm a con artist. If that's what happened, I didn't do that. No one did that in MAGA. The only person who did that was Donald Trump. He's the only one who did that. And he gets away with it because he's the Pied Piper, leader of the clown movement. And people have put their godlike worship into him. And I want to play a clip real quick. I'm gonna download it and upload it. I just want you to listen to what he said and think about if I said this or Candace said this or Tucker Carlson said this, our careers would be over. But Trump got to do this over and over and over and over again for a year as a leader. And people just said, oh, this is awesome. It's crazy, man. It's crazy stuff. Let me see. Dun, dun, dun. I got the full. I'm gonna put the full thing on for you, folks. Don't worry. This is a high-tech establishment now. I could download it and upload it real quick. Listen to what he said on Maria Bartiromo and ask yourself. Just be honest. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you agree. I really don't. Ask yourself if I did this or Candace Owens did this or anybody, David Harris, the Hodgkins, if anybody did this, would they still have a career, right? That's all you got to ask yourself. Would we still have a career if we did what Trump said right here, if we said this? Here it comes.
I want to get your take on needing proof to go into restaurants, needing proof of a vaccine to go into certain stores. Your thoughts on where we are with these new mask mandates coming back. And now the FDA has approved a coronavirus booster shot. The administration is getting set to recommend a third shot for the fully vaccinated. Sir, would you get a booster shot?
Let me tell you, I'm very proud of the vaccines. The vaccines weren't supposed to happen for 3 to 5 years. I brought the FDA in. Nobody has talked to the FDA like I did. They don't like me very much. We have a vaccine, and it's saving millions of lives throughout the world. I think we'd have a Spanish flu situation like in 1917. I really do. I believe that. And we're, maybe 100 million people, 50 million, 100 million people like that. So I'm very proud of the vaccine. I've taken the vaccine. I'm very, very proud of it. At the same time, some people don't want to take it. And, when I was president, you didn't have this problem with people not wanting to take it. They don't take it because they don't trust Biden and they don't trust the Biden administration. When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine. If you just think back, everybody wanted to get it. And we were giving out over 1 million shots a day. We had that thing rocking. And he's now president, and he's doing a lousy job at coronavirus. Coronavirus is back. If that ever happened to me where it came back, okay, when I left, it was virtually gone. It was over. It was a path. Now it's coming back through the Delta, and I don't know if you even want to call it that. All you call it is the China virus is back. And so why is he doing a good job? He did a bad job with SARS, the H1N1, very bad job, a joke of a job, a horrible job. All of a sudden they said, oh, he's doing so well. I'm the one that did well. I'm the one that got all the equipment. I'm the one that got the vaccine. I'm the one that did well. If it came back, can you imagine if I were president and it came back at a level where it's just as bad right now in some cases? The press would decimate me.
If anybody in MAGA said that, their career would be over. Like, it's some real like satanic backwards, like, mind control he's got where he's like, I pushed the FDA. Like he's telling MAGA, oh, I pressured the FDA. I'm fighting the deep state. No, he pressured the FDA to rush it faster than ever. He was get it out. He's the vaccine guy. Like, but he's trying to brainwash MAGA into thinking, I'm fighting the FDA. Oh, yeah, you're taking on the FDA by rushing mRNA vaccines. Oh, I bet that's a huge threat to the FDA. Like, but people buy this stuff because they buy Trump. If me, Candace, Hodge twins, David Harris, if we said what I'm about to play right now, our career would be over. But Donald Trump, time and time again, goes on a vaccine sales tour for over a year when America needs a leader the most, even just a voice, a soul. He's soulless. Take a listen.
I would have put a warning on or something on just that particular vaccine, but I certainly wouldn't have paused it and gotten front page news all over the world. And then people don't want it. And it probably even affects the others because, there's a big situation with a lot of people don't want to take the vaccine. Well, this played right into their hands. And they want me to do public service messages and everything about everybody taking the vaccine. And look, I guess in a certain way, I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it. To get it done in less than 9 months was a miracle. Fauci said it would take 3 to 5 years. He thought it was something that just wouldn't be that effective because it would take so long to get. I pushed the FDA like they have never been pushed before. I wouldn't exactly say they're in love with me. They have never. This is a very bureaucratic organization. I pushed them like they've never been pushed before, and that's why we have it. When they did the pause on Johnson & Johnson, I thought that was a very, very stupid thing to do.
Would you recommend to our audience that they get the vaccine then?
I would. I would recommend it, and I would recommend it to a lot of people.
Well, whatever. I mean, he's the father. He's the father of the vaccines. It wasn't Fauci. It wasn't the FDA. It was him. So this is all I'm asking. People need to have some consistency. I don't care what you think. Maybe you're triple vaccinated, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. But this is the crazy part. You got people that are like totally against all this stuff going on. They're totally against it. But then they also just won't acknowledge that he wants credit for it. It's like, just give the guy credit. You guys want, oh, it's Fauci doing it. It's Bill. No, dude, Donald Trump sold it, pushed it, signed it, pressured the FDA with his power more than it. Like he wanted it as bad as Bill Gates, if not more. So, it's like the point I'm trying to get to is if anybody in MAGA would have done that, anybody, literally anybody, name your favorite MAGA person, career over. If they did 1/8 of what Trump did, but he's the Pied Piper, the Trojan horse, he can get away with it. Just march around me, MAGA. Just keep talking about the election. Don't notice that I'm not really going to help you, and I didn't help you in 2020. But pretty wild. But whatever. I've talked about this a lot. Let's see. I'm going to put this one up because I think this too. Someone said he's lying and he knows it. That's how I feel about it. Like at the end of the day, you can't lie to yourself. I mean, you can, but you're going to know it. Trump's an honest person, right? He's a smart guy. He's not the same person. He doesn't sound the same. 2021, he sounded like a dog with his tail between his legs. Watch him on Bill O'Reilly. Trump used to have this alpha energy. I consider him like the most alpha person in the world. He's out here, taking meetings. I think he was like the greatest leader. I love Donald Trump. I loved him, right? And then he starts lying. He knows he's lying. Like you could lie to yourself. You can get mad at me. Listen to his voice. He knows you think he doesn't know? Like he doesn't know that people are getting kicked out of restaurants and he's just marching around, freedom or whatever, but I did it. I sold it. Me. I'm the best. I'm Fauci. I'm FDA. I'm the best. I did it. I rushed it. It's like he's a total narcissist, oblivious, or he knows he's lying. I think he knows he's lying. That's why I'm saying, it's his own soul he's got to worry about. I don't know. Let me see. Super chat real quick. I'm going to read that. Someone said, only the biggest lemmings think that Trump is fighting for them and not the power that has propped him up. Well, I think he's contributed a few little things, but I think time tells all. And, that's definitely a huge concern of mine. It's just the fact that so many people, they learn nothing. It's like you get locked down for 2 years. Trump plays into it. He plays right into their hands. So many people hate Governor Kemp, and I don't live in Georgia, so I don't even know what he's doing. But I find Trump doesn't take accountability. So he wanted Kemp. I could find you a clip. He wanted Kemp to close Georgia. Georgia opened up before mostly any other state, maybe South Dakota before. But when Georgia opened, Trump was bad-mouthing Georgia. He's like, you can do it, but you're wrong. You should listen to me. Trump was the architect even of the coronavirus rules. He was gatekeeping the coronavirus rules. It wasn't just Fauci. Trump said, these are my rules. These are my social distancing guidelines. You should follow them. I'll allow you to not, but you should be following them. So he was controlling Republicans and pressuring them. Trump called Thomas Massie. I'm gonna make a video about this at one time. Thomas Massie said, don't sign the CARES Act. The CARES Act was one of the biggest mistakes in modern history that Trump signed and bragged about. He called Thomas Massie to scream at him. So Trump is like this big figure in the Republican Party. He's the top dog. If you disagree with Trump on lockdowns or the CARES Act, he's calling you and yelling at you. So he gatekeeped all these stuff. That's why I don't feel bad about him for the election. I feel bad for our country, but he brainwashed people to think that he wasn't a part of it. How are you going to have a fair election if you're trying to keep the country closed down and Governor Kemp's opening? And now he turned his whole audience against Governor Kemp. He threw Pence under the bus. I don't even like Mike Pence, but it's like, I'm sorry, man. MAGA creeps me out now. It's like people don't think for themselves. They will literally allow Trump to go there, go here, go there. And people are not even thinking about it. If people are so concerned about the election, they should hold Trump accountable. Trump did nothing about big tech. Trump played into the hands of Fauci. Trump played into the hands of Big Pharma. Trump played into the hands of the communists. Trump played into the hands of lockdowns past Easter. Trump badmouthed Sweden for opening early. Trump badmouthed Governor Kemp for opening early. And then he throws Kemp under the bus. I mean, I feel like Trump is such a scumbag, but whatever. When he was killing it, I'm like, dude, this guy's the man. Get out of his way. But once he started destroying America and like yelling at Republicans like Thomas Massey for telling him not to destroy America, it's like I just consider him like Benedict Arnold at this point. But, it is what it is. But let's see. Appreciate it. I'm glad somebody likes it. That's just how I feel. I'm like, I don't know. It's one thing to, I don't know, do all this stuff. But when he's like, Thomas Massey said he called him and screamed at him. Do you know what the CARES Act was? Read the CARES Act. The CARES Act buried America. When Trump signed the CARES Act, game over, okay? Not just Fauci, not just Democrats. Trump said, game over to American democracy. I'm going to sign off the CARES Act. Thomas Massey's like, don't do this. And he's like, shut the fuck. Thomas Massey said he called him and screamed at him. So when Governor Kemp tried to open his state up early, Trump badmouthed him. Trump is a bully, but he's not. He's a bully for good sometimes, but sometimes he's a bully for the devil. During COVID, he's like, don't open your state up. It's like, and people are like, he wanted to open up. Do you need to see the video of him telling Kemp not to open up? I have that too. I'll bring it up. People don't remember history because they just listen to Trump all the time. But let's find the one of Trump telling Governor Kemp to. People don't remember this history. The first state to open up after South Dakota apparently never shut down. I don't know if they did or not. Was Georgia. Georgia tried to open up and Trump said, follow my guidelines. I guarantee you he called Governor Kemp too. And this was the moment Trump started turning against Governor Kemp. He's talking about the election. Bro, Trump blew his own election more than Governor Kemp did. Oh, it's Governor Kemp. Trump throws everybody under the bus. Here's a video of Trump bad-mouthing Georgia for opening the country. And this is the guy you're going to run circles around? Like, he ruined his own election. I don't know what else to say. Take a look.
Told the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, that I disagree strongly with.
First of all, does this sound like Trump's even this? Does this sound like Trump actually thinks this, or he's just reading a script? He's like, I told Governor Kemp strongly, I guess I disagree with it. Like, he's acting like a puppet here anyway, but he's like, oh, how dare Georgia open up? I'll let them do it, but they should just listen to my guidelines.
Told the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, that I disagree strongly with his decision to open certain facilities which are in violation of the Phase 1 guidelines for the incredible people of Georgia. They're incredible people. I love those people.
You get it? He's such an actor. Oh, they're such incredible people. Oh, I want them to lock down. Oh, Governor Kemp tries to open up. Oh, and they're so incredible. Oh, the lockdown's incredible. Oh. He's such an actor. Like, oh, I love the people of Georgia. That's why I'm trying to keep them locked down. And he has the nerve to act like Kemp ruined his election. I can't jive with any people that are falling for this, but whatever.
Told the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, that I disagree strongly with his decision to open certain facilities which are in violation of the Phase 1 guidelines for the incredible people of Georgia. They're incredible people. I love those people. They're great. They've been strong, resolute, but at the same time, he must do what he thinks is right. I want him to do what he thinks is right. But I disagree with him on what he's doing, what I want to let the governors do. Now, if I see something totally egregious, totally out of line, I'll do. But I think spas and beauty salons and tattoo parlors and barbershops in Phase 1, we're going to have Phase 2 very soon, is just too soon. I think it's too soon. And I love the people. I love those people that use all of those things, the spas and the beauty parlors and barbershops, tattoo parlors. I love them. But they can wait a little bit longer, just a little bit, not much, because safety has to predominate. We have to have that. So I told the governor very simply that I disagree with his decision, but he has to do what he thinks is right.
Trump was the gatekeeper of the coronavirus. Like, oh, it was just Fauci and Democrats. No, Trump was keeping people locked. He just played this game. Oh, I'm going to open up on Easter. Oh, we're going to keep it locked down. Oh, it's phase 1. Oh, it's phase 2. Oh, just a little while longer, Georgia. Just stay. Oh, yeah, just a few more days. I had debates with people trying to say, oh, masking. And I'm like, if you allow this to happen, it's not going to go away. I had a debate with Nuance, bro, in May, and I said, I don't believe forced masking should be anywhere. And he's like, oh, no, it should be here, and there should be half closures. And I'm like, bro, if you close stuff down for this long, it's not going to open up normally. So, at the end of the day, like, I can't just buy into this narrative that he's this massive victim. He closed the country down. He signed the CARES Act. He badmouthed anybody who wanted to open the country. And then he threw anybody under the bus besides himself. It's like, bro, you blew it for yourself and you blew it for the country. Here's a video of Thomas Massie explaining how Trump was really going hard at him. And Thomas Massie, keep in mind, he's probably the only person I actually fully like in the Republican Party. He's a libertarian. He's a patriot. He's against speech laws. He's against communism. He's probably the only real Republican in the whole party. Donald Trump used his power to try to kick this guy out of the Republican Party for simply being against the Communist CARES Act that Trump himself signed. Here's the video. Check it out. I guess I got to upload it. Didn't upload correctly, but it's like this type of stuff to me is like, I'm the bad guy for noticing this. Like, this is crazy. Take a look.
The government, this stimulus package is $6 trillion. It's either going to be spent or loaned or injected into the economy. $6 trillion. There are 100 million families. Okay, let's say the average family is 3.5 people. 100 million families in the United States. Divide $6 trillion by 100 million. You get $60,000 per household of spending.
Okay, and like, what, $3.5 trillion or $4 trillion is coming out of Fed money, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The $4 trillion is Treasury and Fed. Exactly. So 2 from Congress, 4 from the Fed. That should tell you who runs this government, right? Like, if already. So we complain that Congress really only decides how $1 trillion gets spent every year. $3 trillion is entitlements. Now we're talking about $4 trillion. That's from a totally different set here. But back to my math: $6 trillion total divided by 100 million families is $60,000 per family. Okay, they're offering $1,200 payments to each working adult if they qualify. And then like $500 per child or whatever. A family might expect to get $3,000, but $60,000 is going somewhere on their behalf. What's the problem here? That's like 95% of the money is going somewhere else. Where is it going?
Yeah.
And who's going to be responsible for the 60,000? The taxpayer, and most of the taxes come from people, not from companies, not from the corporate taxes. The taxpayer is on the line for $60,000, yet they're going to receive at most maybe $3,000 of benefit from this. I'm saying this is the largest transfer of wealth in human history. It would make FDR blush, and the Roman emperors would have no idea how to pull this off, this kind of plunder.
What would be what?
So that's Thomas Massie explaining the CARES Act. The CARES Act was signed during the COVID lockdowns. Trump signed it. Pelosi, McConnell, they were all in on it. Trump bragged, I'm helping the people. Thomas Massie was trying to explain this is the biggest wealth transfer in history. I agree with him. AOC, this is beyond an AOC plan. This is beyond an Andrew Yang plan. That's what Trump did, right? Thomas Massie is the only Republican saying this is crazy. You can't just print $6 trillion, give it around, give people a few thousand, give everybody else 60,000. This is crazy. This is a communist, socialist, just completely overhaul of the American system. And when Trump saw that Thomas Massie was against it, he said that Thomas Massie was a grandstander, a third-rate Republican, and he had to get kicked out of the party. Massie explained on Tim Pool that Trump called him and started cursing him out and saying, like, your career's done. Thank God Thomas Massie won his election because he's one of the only genuine people in Congress. He's a good guy. Trump tried to ruin his career. That's what a scumbag Trump is. Not only did Trump sell the country out, but he tried to eliminate the one Republican that actually knew he sold it out. Trump sucks, okay? And then he ran around the country selling vaccines in 2021. He is the biggest Benedict Arnold deceiver, trying to convince people that pressuring the FDA to rush an mRNA vaccine faster is somehow a good thing. I mean, I consider this guy like the lowest of the low now. I don't care if he doesn't disagree with Thomas Massie, whatever, but to try to kick our only good person out of the party, I mean, it sucks. I mean, yeah, it's better than Joe Biden. I'd vote for Trump over Biden. I did. It's just like, but the idol worship around Trump, like people think he's some sort of 5D chess wizard. No, he's, that's who he is. But, I don't like communism. It's not like I hate Trump or anything. I don't like communism. I don't like socialist money printing to big corporations. I don't like crony, slavery. And that's what Trump was gatekeeping for the longest time, and somehow manipulated his audience to think that he wasn't a part of this all. It's crazy stuff. Jane said, agree or disagree? I feel like we need an independent or moderate as president to bring back the balance. Two-party power is a struggle now. Well, here's my thing with Trump. Listen, I don't have that much power. People need to hold this guy accountable. He is not your savior. He is not an idol. He did a lot of wicked things. He ruined the country in 2020, or helped to do it. You can't treat this guy as if he's like this pie in the sky hero. You got to be like, wow, no, if he gets back into power, people got to just hold Trump accountable. It's really the base. That's why I speak to MAGA. You are more responsible for where this country goes than Donald Trump is. Like, are you going to just lick his boots and act like everything is great when it isn't? Or are you going to be like a real citizen and say, hey, I respect my First Amendment more than I respect you, Donald Trump. I respect my Second Amendment more than I respect your bump stock ban. I respect my freedom more than I respect your lockdown. I respect my sovereignty more than I respect your communism. That's when this country changes. When people say, when people say, you know what, I don't hate him, but I'm not going to give up my own liberty for this guy's that he's protecting it when he's selling it away. That's when this country changes. But man, I had no idea people were this, controlled until I saw him go that direction. And I just did the same reporting that I always do. And people really lost it in 2020. And now, I mean, I haven't talked about it in a while, but someone said bump stock ban, who cares? I mean, you could say the same thing with, ARs. Who cares about ARs? Why don't you just have a pistol? You know what? Who cares? Who cares about, I mean, it's a slippery slope to a lot of people. I know bump stocks could be made, etc. But to me, it's like, it's just gay marriage. It's just this. I guess it is until it's not. So, at a certain point, when they try to infringe on certain rights, I think it's a lot of gun people said, hey, I understand that bump stocks could be made or whatever, and there's other ways to make them, but at the same time, it's an infringement on the Second Amendment. And if they can do that, and they can do that, and Obama can do that, and Trump can do that, you're not going in the right direction. You're going in the wrong direction. It's like free speech. Who cares if you can't say anti-Semitism in schools in Florida? First of all, what does it mean to be, what is the definition? Because what you think is anti-Semitism and what they wrote in the Ron DeSantis bill, it's two different things. So you get what I'm saying? It's like, oh, well, who cares? I don't go to Florida. It's the precedence of, if you don't protect the First and Second Amendment and your slippery slope sliding down, don't complain. If you don't want to protect the first little bump stock ban, then I would say if you lose all your freedom, don't cry about it. It's just, it's just a slippery slope. No big deal. So, someone said I picked one damn thing he negotiated on. That's not true. I just played like multiple clips. I just told you everything that I disagree with. First Amendment, Second Amendment, capitalism. He dropped the ball on all of them. I'm not going to blame him as if he's the sole responsible. But if people can't identify this stuff, there's no, just why even pretend like you want freedom? Just give it up. It's whatever. If you get a smiley face and a funny guy that does it, just who cares, right? Who cares about the First Amendment, the Second Amendment? Who cares about $6 trillion, money printing, socialism, communism, whatever? Like, just that's all I ask is like, don't pretend to be like a freedom fighter or a conservative. Just say what you are. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a Trump worshiper. I'm a Trump idolater. I don't care about the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. Just be honest about it. It's like with the left. Don't act like you're saving black people. Just say you're an authoritarian. Say you're a slave master. You want to control everybody. Just be honest about it. And then it's like, okay, that's who you are. But if you're a right winger, I don't care. Take a label. Labels don't matter to me. But don't act like you care about the First Amendment if you cry when I talk about it. Don't act like you care about the Second Amendment if you're upset when I talk about it. Just say you're a Trump worshiper. You put your worship of Trump over the Constitution, over our country, over capitalism, over freedom, over anti-communist agendas, because Trump did all those things and you don't want to talk about it. So just be real. Just say, I am a Trump idolater. I do not care about our country, or like, the Constitution, it plays second fiddle. There's an argument to be had there, because to be fair, if Trump runs and he beats, DeSantis or Massey or Rand Paul or other people I'd prefer more, I would vote for him over Biden, because strategically, I think Trump is a better leader. However, I think the future of our country depends on whether people are able to use their God-given, freedoms to protect them, or if they're just going to follow the big Trojan horse down whatever path he goes. That's our future. I really take it seriously. So, I pray that people are ready to take that on, because, that's where it's going. Let's see. Someone said that's not true. I don't know what part of what I said is not true, but it's all good. Who do I think is best at next president? I mean, if Trump runs, he's going to win. So my opinion doesn't matter. But, people got to pay attention. That's all I'm going to say. I don't agree with everything Ron DeSantis has done. I think he's infringed on the First Amendment. I have my eye on that. However, I think Ron DeSantis wields power well. I think Ron DeSantis isn't as inflammatory. He just does it. And I think Trump talks a lot. He's a big talker, but I think DeSantis actually does stuff. Like, to me, DeSantis, I'll give you an example. DeSantis picked a good surgeon general, right? I like DeSantis as Surgeon General. He picked like a real doctor, a real freedom fighter as a Surgeon General. That shows me that DeSantis cares about that. He's not just blabbering about it. He actually did it. Trump's Surgeon General was horrible. Trump followed Fauci's coattails for a year. Trump loves to put on a show as if he's doing something, but he's such a likable guy. Trump is so funny, so likable, so honest that he's like a great salesman. Trump could sell water to a whale, salt to a snail. Trump is that good. I respect him. He's an amazing businessman. With that being said, he didn't always do what he said he was going to do, but he loved to put on a show. I think DeSantis wields power well. I'm just passing the bill. I'm doing it. I don't care what you think. I'm doing it. DeSantis keeps doing stuff like that. I respect that. Even if I don't agree with it, it's like Trump, I feel like was a big showman, but when push came to shove, he was afraid to like wield power. I get it. It's a tough situation. People are going to call you a fascist, authoritarian, but I feel like DeSantis does, I would prefer him or Rand Paul. I mean, I would even, to be 100% honest, I've said this before. I like Trump more as like a showman than Ted Cruz. I don't trust Ted Cruz. I actually don't really like Ted Cruz that much anymore. I think he's a phony. But if Ted Cruz was the president, I feel like nobody likes him that much. So everybody would be watching him and holding him accountable. The scariest thing about Trump is people literally think he's like a demigod, Nikola Tesla spawn. So it's like popular to just like let him literally do communism and act like it's not happening. If Ted Cruz did communism, people would be on his ass in a second. So, in a weird way, I'd rather somebody I like less than Trump be president, because for some reason, MAGA is under this spell. Like, I like Trump more than most people ever will like Trump. I loved Donald Trump. So I know what it's like to love Donald Trump and really appreciate him. I still appreciate him, but it's not like I'm this foreign left winger who hates him. I love the guy. It's just like the level that people go, it's like they don't care about anything but loving him. And that's, to me, very dangerous. Like, how are we going to accomplish anything when, nobody wants to hold our leader accountable? So I would rather DeSantis. I would rather Rand Paul. I would even rather, at this point, even though he's a total phony, actually, I don't know. I think Trump's foreign policy is better than Ted Cruz's foreign policy. But, it's like, he's not, in my head, I'm not like pumped about him running. I'm just like, it's up to MAGA, really. If people really care about their free speech, I'll tell you something real quick. Like, I found out before the lockdown what was going on in the Republican Party, and I found out how I would be treated like the left treats me. When I found out that DeSantis and Trump and Republicans were passing these anti-Semitism speech bills, I started speaking about it. It's not because I like people who are hateful. I really believe in free speech. I don't believe in racist bills. This is bullshit. This is anti-First Amendment bullshit to take away your constitutional rights. Republicans are passing anti-First Amendment laws. Getter, True Social, these are not free speech platforms. They're not even pretending to be. So I started speaking out against that, and that's when I found out who the Republicans really were. I was no longer really welcomed. You know what I'm saying? It's like people were like, oh, that anomaly, he's too far right. And I'm like, I'm too far right for believing in free speech? That's who a lot of these Republicans are. So, it's not like I'm blaming one specific person, but when the base of MAGA wants free speech, you're going to get free speech. When the base of MAGA wants capitalism and not communism, you'll get it. But if the base of MAGA just idolizes Trump and doesn't pay attention to this stuff, you don't deserve free speech. Like, you didn't lose free speech because of Zuckerberg. You lost free speech because your party's not even trying to protect it. They are controlled opposition when it comes to free speech. You get what I'm saying? They're just protecting this illusion that they're fighting big tech while they're working with big tech, while they're passing other bills that big tech wants them to pass. These speech bills they're passing are a joke. And when you say that, CPAC, TPUSA, Prager, they're not thrilled that you're saying that, because they all prioritize Zionism over American patriotism and liberty. So it's like a threat to their whole existence. They start panicking and like, oh my God, you're an anti-Semite. It's like, no, I'm not. Jewish people love me. Israelis love me. You can't smear my name and say I hate people. I got thousands of Jewish supporters, and they know I've never said anything hateful. If you actually listen to what I'm saying, I'm not out here just being nasty. It's like, I really believe in the First Amendment. Do I use my First Amendment to say nasty? No, I'll compliment people and stuff. But at the same time, I'll be honest about certain things that I disagree with. But you can't lose the right to have a conversation about race, social stuff. That's not First Amendment. So, that's this like hallucinating people are doing, whether it's like the Q stuff or just like the obsessing over Trump stuff. I don't care if you love Trump a lot, but like you're not going to save this country. I promise you, because it's not part of their agenda. There is no 5,000 dimensional chess plan. No, they're working for people that don't even care about the First Amendment. But whatever. Someone said I'm literally degrading Trump supporters. That's not true, dude. It's like if me saying I would love to see MAGA really, pay attention and protect the First Amendment, if that's degrading to you, then I don't know. You're hearing something else, because I've gone to a Trump rally. I've gone to the White House. I've been invited by the Trump administration. I have every reason to not say this. You don't think if I would have kept my mouth shut, if Trump was president again, I could have went back to the White House? It was awesome. I'm sure I could have, but I don't care. I don't really care about accolades and awards and going places. I want my freedom, or else I don't have a future. I don't look at it, oh, maybe I'll get hired by PragerU if I shut up and I just like promote, Israel and speech laws. I don't care. I don't think I have a future with speech laws. So it's not worth the money or the fame. I don't need anything. I want to be able to speak my mind without getting banned off of True Social, Getter, Facebook, YouTube. I want to be able to tell the truth without it being a hate speech violation. And there's no way to get that going on until enough people in MAGA realize what I've been saying for 3 years now. But whatever. It's all good. I don't want to sound like a broken record. There's some topics that people just can't handle. It's like if you go to the left wing and talk about like, don't say gay bill, they're not able to process it. It like breaks their programming. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just angry. I hate Ron DeSantis. And you just got to back up and be like, okay, this person's not ready for that conversation. That's kind of how it is with a lot of people on the right. Not everybody, not the whole movement, but a lot of people are not ready for this conversation. So, there's nothing I could say. I could be nice. I could be kind and thoughtful, but they're not ready. It breaks the programming or their emotional obsession over thinking that something else is happening. I follow people that are really like into this stuff where they like turn Trump into an idol. It's like, it's a big movie for them, and he's got this secret wizard plan, and Jeffrey Epstein, oh, any day now. It's like, no, dude, Epstein got away scot-free. Ghislaine Maxwell got, they closed the book on all these people. I'm not trying to be a downer, but eventually everything can come to light, I think. But people like, they love to lie to themselves and be like, oh, this is all part of the plan. It's like, bro, they softballed Maxwell. They softballed Epstein. They did exactly what they needed to do to make sure nothing else really got out. But, whatever. Let me see. Someone said Debbie Downer. No, I don't know. I don't want to have the same conversation I had like a year ago, but it's like you just start telling people like believe in yourself, do your own thing, don't just idolize Trump, and they're like, "Oh, you're a downer." It's only a downer if that's your whole life. Like, you got to contribute, be a part of the change, it's so I don't want to have this conversation again. It's so low level to just be like, if you think idolizing Trump is bad, you're a Debbie Downer. It's like, is Trump your God then? He's your whole world. He's your whole life. He's your whole future, your past. You have nothing else to do. And that's the only way that things are going to get good. And if that doesn't happen, you're done for. Like, that doesn't mean you're optimistic. That means you're way too reliant on a human politician that you think is like your savior. That doesn't make you like the king of optimism. People gatekeep optimism. It's like, I believe in America, but I'm trying to rally the troops, not literally, but like metaphorically. Like, I'm trying to inspire people, wake people up, like be a part of the change. Please do not sit on the sidelines. Trump is not going to save you. There's nothing Debbie Downer about it. Your free speech is being infringed on, and the only way to get it back is to realize how it's being taken away. It's being taken away by both sides. If that's Debbie Downer to you, you don't deserve free speech. You deserve whatever's coming. So I don't feel bad for people anymore. But someone said support someone, then still wait. It doesn't matter who I support. I'm not moving the needle that much. I have influence, but like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. What politician you like, figure it out, use your best judgment locally, nationally, vote for whoever you want, but listen to the message I'm saying. It's deeper than politics. It's deeper than that. So it's not like everybody's conditioned to think like, I need someone to save me. It's really like, especially if you're a Christian, I'm not trying to act like I'm holier than thou, but it's really like anti-Bible to obsess this much over a human. Like, you got a lot of Christians that are like, I'm good in Christ, I'm gonna make it. That's a better attitude, in my opinion, than like, who are you gonna vote for? Dude, I'm a freaking 32-year-old Facebooker. If you got to ask me who to vote for, like, that's on you. I don't, I'll give you my opinion, but like, I don't want to decide who you vote for. I tell you what I feel and how I think, but if you don't think that way, I don't care who you vote for, really. I mean, you shouldn't vote for Biden, but at the end of the day, it's like, why? I don't understand why so many Republican Christians are like so programmed to feel like they need a politician to save them. And if you tell them that a politician is not going to save them, people start to like panic. Like, if not, then who are you going to support? You got to support. Why do I have to support somebody? I try to support myself. I try to support my family. I try to support my audience with information and knowledge and wisdom and good vibes. And that's my support, and when I like Thomas Massie. I told you, he's my favorite politician right now. I like him more than Rand Paul. I like him more than Trump. Is he running for president? I don't know, but I like him, and I think you should listen to him and follow him on Twitter, because he's a great influence. He's a great person, I think, and he's good for Washington. He's definitely a net positive. So that's what I think. But who cares? Who cares what I think about who the leader is? Your leader is not, look deeper than Donald Trump. Look to God. Look to yourself. Find yourself. I just it bugs me out. I'm not trying to be rude. It just bugs me out when people freak out so hard. If I were to say like Ted Cruz isn't going to save you, like, yeah, duh. Like, but people are like, who then? You got to support somebody. No, this is like the opposite of what the Bible says. The Bible says don't worship idols. Believe in Christ. Like, it's not like obsess over Donald Trump and have like a meltdown when somebody tells you that he's not going to save your whole world. Dude, this just people get upset. They're like, I'm not in a cult. I'm like, I'm not saying you are. I like Donald Trump too. I did. I don't really anymore. But you get what I'm saying? It's like, it only bothers people that feel that way. It's like a mirror, and people are like, hey, I'm not a cultist. I'm not a cultist. It's like, okay, then you're not. Who cares what I say? My opinion doesn't matter. So I feel like the people that get the most triggered are like people that they feel this like, if you're that reliant on a politician, especially one that was already in office, that already proved that they're not going to lead you to the destination you thought they were going to lead you to, he was in office for 4 years. It ended in a lockdown and a setup event where his supporters got arrested by the FBI. Like, there was no big pedophile bust. I mean, of course there were little ones and people did get arrested, but he ended his term with you in a lockdown and his supporters getting set up. I'm not saying it's his fault, but like, it's not like he's this new leader that didn't have 4 years to run the country. He did, and he failed, in my opinion. But if you think that was a huge success, lockdowns, Operation Warp Speed, the CARES Act, communism, if that's success to you, then I guess what's the point of even being conservative? You might as well just be a liberal and pretend like this is all good or something. But, I don't know. I mean, I'm an optimistic person. I'm trying to figure out and walk through, like, what are people thinking? I don't think people are thinking. It's like, I'm a conservative. I want all this stuff, but I'm going to ignore that it happened and just like put all my faith in one guy. And even though he didn't do what I thought he was going to do, I think he still will. And if you say he won't, I'll freak out. Like, I don't understand what people are going for. Like, what do you want to happen? If you want the country to like fail, then I guess that's a good idea. It's like, just be a liberal, vote for Biden, put up a Black Lives Matter fist. You can act, maybe get some women that way, get some liberal chicks like, oh yeah, BLM, we want to hang out. I'm like, yeah, sure. Want to go out for a drink and we'll talk about, Sean King. And they're like, yeah, that sounds dope, But if you really want to save the First Amendment and stuff, you got to identify certain things where it's being taken away, or like capitalism and free markets. Like, you got to look what happened in 2020 and figure out how they did that to us so it doesn't happen again. But I don't know. I'm just trying to have fun with it. I don't want to be a downer. It's just crazy. Someone said, don't be like the Obama supporters and worshiping him without criticism. But here's the thing. That's what people do with Trump. That it has gotten that bad. Like when certain things happened in 2019 before the lockdown, the omnibus bill was garbage, and like the speech laws he passed an executive order. When I started talking about that, I realized that a lot of people on the right are just like that. Like PragerU, TPUSA, like Right Side Broadcasting. I like them. They do good work. I have friends who work there, but it's not this like, I feel like if you call out the speech laws, TPUSA and, PragerU are so pro-Israel. They like prioritize Israel over America. So you speaking out for the First Amendment is against their like Zionist thought process, and they freak out at you and call you an anti-Semite. So I'm like, okay, I thought they cared about free speech. They don't. Right Side Broadcasting, I mean, they do great work, but at the same time, they're just like professional Trump bootlickers. Like, they just go to the Trump rallies. That's their economy. That's their world. They're not in the business of holding Trump accountable. I mean, they're in the business of like idolizing Trump and covering the events. So I realized real quickly, like, wow, I guess, the Trump movement is awesome when he's crushing it. But when he does some weirdo stuff, I thought I was wrong in 2018. I thought, oh, we're building a movement of truth. We're building a movement of like freedom, and we'll be able to identify. But really, it was like oh no, we're not doing that. We're just like, we are not going to question anything. And it did kind of become that, I think. Not for everybody. There's a lot of people who came around to it. I still think it's the best, side of politics where people are being the most honest. But that is kind of what happened. That's kind of exactly what happened. Someone said Trump has not lost support. I agree. I mean, he's probably more popular now than ever. So, I mean, to me, that's a red flag. The fact that nobody identifies his role in 2020. He's better than Biden. I think it's totally logical to be like, yeah, Trump is better than Biden and I prefer him. That's logical. I'd rather have Trump than Biden. I think that makes total sense. But the fact that he is as popular is creepy to me. I mean, it just shows me that the right wing is not interested in freedom. They're interested in idol worship and, personality. So, I don't look at that like a good thing. I look at that like that's, on one hand, it's good that they like him more than Biden. On another hand, that's creepy to me that nobody on the right learned their lesson, or only 10% of people. It's not a good sign, in my opinion. Someone said, my kids think they're a Stegosaurus. We're getting plates installed next week. Got to affirm them in their dino gender. Respect, Moose Chuckle. You're a good parent. If they think they're a Stegosaurus, they know best, and it's good to just let them transition into a dinosaur. So appreciate that comment, and sounds like you're on the right track, MAGA. Someone said, what the? Let's see. All right. We'll end on that note. It was pretty funny. All right. God bless you guys. Have a beautiful day. I appreciate you. And tomorrow, if you're interested, I will have a live stream with Ryan Long. If you guys know Ryan Long, he's a comedian, super funny. He does stand-up. He does little skits and stuff, political skits. Really funny guy, and it should be a really funny conversation. Me and him have a blast. I've hung out with him before, gone to his comedy show. he's a really cool guy, and we have a great time. So if you want a fun show tomorrow, I'm going to be broadcasting the podcast live, and then I will be posting the podcast on Dream Rare Podcast, which is above. So check that out. Dream Rare Podcast, available everywhere if you want to check out stuff when you're driving, whatever. I got conversation with a friend or conversation with somebody, and then my own thing, conversation. So it's all one-on-one. If you like just listening to me, we got a lot of that. If you like listening to my guests and people that I have on that are cool, want to meet new people, hear conversations, we do that as well. So check that out tomorrow. It'll be really fun. Ryan's a really funny guy. And just a warning, he may curse, and I'm not going to like censor him. So, you know, if you're not into the cursing and stuff, maybe he won't, but I'm not going to tell him not to. I want him to be himself and have fun. So, you know, he's a comedian. He says what he wants, and you know, we're just gonna have a fun time. So that sounds good to you. Check in tomorrow. Check out the podcast. If not, no worries. God bless. Have a good day, and I'll be back soon. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for considering at bare minimum. And someone said Anomaly is hungry. I'm not hungry. It's just I've been here for 2 hours and 30 minutes. I'm kind of exhausted. So appreciate you. Have a good day.